2, 1. And we should be live. Alrighty. Yep. Okay, let's see. Now I gotta grab the link here and drop that shit in my server. Alrighty. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Sam, if you do, we'll have you come and call in later. We'll have you come and call later. Straight after, yeah, straight after I left VC. I mean, yeah, the whole point was when we were all in VC was that I was, once I was done, finished with everything, me and Hashi were just gonna hop in a different call and do the stream. Yep. I will start setting up some stuff to, Orale, like, the one who actually has powerful abilities and can fight a multiversal character. Yeah, no. Dish. Yeah. 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 What do the fanboys define as Toon Force? Literally anything that looks like it's remotely a feat that's remotely funny. Basically, is how I'm like interpreting it from everybody else, and that essentially, because of the funny and because of all of that, they'll then create these arbitrary standards for what is what's it called? What is Toon Force and what isn't? And then they'll just like be mad in my comment section, being like, "How do you not think this is Toon Force?" And it's like maybe because I don't create arbitrary standards for something that doesn't exist. Like, Oh wait, hold on. I didn't even have the Discord audio on.
They couldn't hear me?
No, because luckily that was my bad. I actually the reason I had the desktop audio muted was because when me and Noodles were recording a podcast episode, it actually made him echo because I was doing this like weird audio different like version of him talking as opposed to just recording the desktop audio.
So I'm gonna repeat some things that I've said. So I responded to what Goose said, where Goose said, never really understood why Toon Force is as hyped up as it is, as in warning and ability being super impressive, whatever. And someone alludes to it later. They think it should be omnipotent. Yeah, the armchair power scaler. So people like your comics explains, and people like that. They just like kind of want to tier characters without tiering them properly. So you'll have like omnipotent, nigh omnipotent. Some will even do like omnipotent and then author inserts above that. It's really wonky. But they'll have Toon Force in there because they think that's like unbeatable for some reason. Like no one ever really wants to like what's the word I'm looking for? They don't like, even if we take Toon Force as his actual ability, it's like, alright, well what does Luffy do with it? He fights like maybe planetary people with it. And even then, they don't like get negged by it. They're like Kaido wasn't just getting negged by it. He was fighting back. And so it's like, why would this ability mean he magically beats Naruto or magically beats Goku or magically beats anybody? It wouldn't. The people who really like Toon Force don't actually expect to have to explain why it would work. They just expect you to. It's like this one-shot ability. You know, it's like
the thing is that people just expect you to go along with the fact that it's something that exists, so they don't have to like. It's like, oh well, Popeye just has Toon Force, right? And that somehow magically explains everything about him and how his abilities work. When it's just like, no, it doesn't. Because all you're saying is that the reason behind his powers is that some omnipresent force that's not there is magically giving him these abilities to do whatever the fuck he wants for the sake of like certain moments. And it's just like all that's doing is creating something that's not there, just so you have just so your copium that these characters seemingly don't have some internal power system to explain their powers is now there magically just because you want it to be there. Like, what was weird was that there's this dude in my comic section that completely understood how devil fruits work and everything. And I'm like, why do you feel the need to add in Toon Force into this explanation that you already have built up to how the series works? He's like, oh, well, because it explains things better. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. Because now what you're doing is that you're having to, you're adding on this new burden of proof of, one, you now have to prove what Toon Force is and that it's an actual thing. Two, you now have to explain why it's even in One Piece. And three, why it applies to Luffy.
It's kind of even worse than that, too, is that, and someone posted this, like, oh, before 2020, everybody took, like, shit like author level seriously. And that's kind of always been the problem in the community, is that when we do stuff like, here's why you shouldn't use author statements, here's why Toon Force isn't real, here's why omnipotence isn't a thing in fiction, etc., we're seen like we're like Mega Satan. Everybody's mad at us. They're blaming us. It's our fault, yeah. You know, they want everything about their shitty scaling off the internet, right? Yeah. That was a Christian reference for all of you who got that. But, and it's like, the problem is that we want a proper model to talk about stuff. And other people just want lol Luffy solos because he's a Toon character. And it's like, do people not know there are like characters who acknowledge that Toon things are like a thing in verse and then beat them? Like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Pegasus uses Toon monsters and they're not unbeatable. They're very beatable, you know? So
I'm actually gonna start pulling up the manga, because I actually somebody asked me in the comment section if I can provide the actual chapters where like characters' eyes pop out of their heads, like literally pop out of their heads, not just extend outward in the manga. And I'm like, I got you, fam. And
to be blunt, I think
both like the most popular
anyways.
instance of it are within Skypia, which is funny enough, like the arc that a lot of people skip for some reason.
I think that's kind of cope anyways. Like we could do the same thing with hockey, right? Like we could say like post time skip, they get like omnipotence powers because like it turns their like arms and stuff black with hockey.
Yeah.
Like you can just invent stuff like that. It's not like really an actual argument. Someone said in chat they're talking about some verse and it's like, oh, it would be 0D because there's no statement. No, if you have something with no statements for it, you just assume it's like its base level. So like for instance, if there's a character named Bob, right? And Bob is a human, he's just like normal human level till he has feats. Or like some kind of like metaphysics acting on him from the verse, like magic system or whatever. Like it's not like 0D or whatever.
Here, I'm just gonna actually pull this up on the stream here, cause
You're reminding me of that time I was. Oh.
I actually remember somebody bringing this up on Twitter before, and the guy's like, so you know how when the Straw Hats are leaving Skypia, and then they literally are falling off the edge, and their eyes pop out of their head, like even.
Yeah.
So someone was like, "Oh, that's just an anime only scene. There's no way that exists in the manga," and the guy's like, "Well, I got you."
The manga doesn't it? Yeah, it exists. It exists in the manga.
I got you, fam. Like, I got you.
Oh, hey. Toon Force is overrated. I mean, when we were making this video, there was an actual discussion we had to have. Because I was on the page that we should just go full bore. Toon Force isn't real.
Alright.
Give no leeway, give no nothing. But Surfbone was going for a bit more lenient approach, which in hindsight I think was a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, well, anyway, so this is the scene where literally, I'll just show everybody right here. What does this look like, huh? Everybody's eyes are gone, and they're like, look at that. Even the Going Merry. Even the Going Merry's like eyes are literally out of their head. It's just literally out of the socket. Even like the Going Merry is like having a facial expression here.
Going Merry is a Straw Hat, fun fact.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny that people will tell me that this enigma, that like the whole like eye popping out of the head thing is seemingly a thing only when Gear 5 is introduced, but then just don't read the manga. Or funny enough, it's like when Zoro just decided to erase his own memory of a previous mermaid he has met, just so he can say that that they're like the first mermaid they've ever seen.
Goose asked, semi-related, but do you guys plan on making videos and other abilities? Not individually. Like we're not going to be making like a fire manipulation video, but we are planning a video on what is hacks in general, right? But we wouldn't be doing like, unless there's something actually substantial to be said or talked about or explained, we wouldn't make a video on it. I would hope that people aren't lying about what fire manipulation is.
Yeah.
If they are, that's just kind of pathetic, don't you think?
Alright. Well,
I think they should make a
Go ahead.
Someone just said I think they should make a video on hacks in general, and I don't know how delayed the chat is. But I'm like, I just said that.
Yeah, I'm going to go to because I'm just gonna pull up some stuff because this is just kind of weird. So it's really funny. So it's really funny that people will tell me that Luffy isn't turning people into rubber whenever he punches through them and all that good jazz, but literally, I'm gonna pull this thing up right here.
Alright, I'm gonna respond to chat while you're doing that. So Bugs Bunny and other Looney Tune characters have some kind of subset of reality warping. Well, reality warping doesn't mean anything either. I would just look at any feat they do and classify it as what they're doing. So, for instance, if they pull a hammer out of nowhere, that they just have standard equipment that doesn't appear on them, like visually, right? Or if they draw on the side of the cliff, like the Roadrunner draw, or not the Road, Wile E. Coyote draws the thing on the side of the cliff, then it acts as like the actual tunnel, right? That's just like at best portal creation. Like I don't think trying to classify it all as Toon Force is literally just saying every ability Looney Tunes has done is now like apparently its own hacks. It's just really stupid.
It's kind of like the whole it's kind of like when Rick was trying to explain to Morty the whole like entire civilization that lives within his battery, and then tries to like explain why it's not like I almost said
slavery,
like why it's not slavery, and then Morty's like, well, that just sounds like slavery with extra steps. And that's essentially what Toon Force is that you're having to first say that it's Toon Force and then explain what the ability is. Like, just saying something's Toon Force doesn't explain anything about the character's powers, because ultimately, like, in order to, like, classify something under something, it's like, oh, if we're eventually going to say that something is fire manipulation, for instance, what's the whole point in having to then say it's Toon Force? Fire manipulation.
Well,
like, what difference does that make? But anyway, before you get on, Hash, I just want to...
Yeah.
So, you see this? Because people, like, keep telling me that he's not doing this, but then it's like, oh, Kaido's getting fatter all of a sudden while Luffy's inside of him. And, like, even Kaido's doing this whole thing where he's like, what's wrong with me? My body isn't rubber. Why would he be saying that if Luffy wasn't actively, like, making him expand, so that his body would do that without actually, like, pulling a Naruto where he's literally making his internal, his, like, internals combust because he's doing this. And then literally in the next scene, he's, like, poking through his eyes. Which I'm kind of surprised that people are just so flabbergasted by this.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think it's like the armchair power scaler. Someone said, wouldn't energy manipulation be like all these other things? A lot of hacks eat themselves if you look into it too deeply. Like, a friend of ours, Chronicler, was coming to us asking about, like, or asking me at least, about boundary manipulation or something like that. Or the barrier manipulation, I forgot, my bad. But if you look into it too deep, hacks do just eat themselves. Like, you will find that every hacks could be every other hacks. It's just about explaining in shorthand what an ability is. Like, is Amaterasu chakra manipulation? Well, yes, but it's also fire manipulation. And it's also, like, an eye ability. Things can have multiple classifications. It's not like one and done.
And of course, we have freaking Kaiza, who's in the chats, talking about how he's already gonna make a retort to my video, and he hasn't even watched it yet. Like, this is, just for context for the people that see him in chat, don't harass him or anything, but we have been having this battle on Twitter for, like, the longest time, and I've just told him repeatedly that he should just join me in VC so we can actually have, like, an adult discussion about this, not just keyboard warrior each other on Twitter of all places. And he's essentially refused to do so and claims that getting in VC will not change anything. And it's just kind of just been bugging me that he's just unwilling to do that.
I mean, I don't know how you're gonna make a retort to a video that is just, like, objectively correct. That seems like a very odd thing to do to me.
Well, it's just like, whenever I've, like, presented Kaizo with an average Twitter chat, pretty much, like, there's, like, a whole ass thread of us debating, and then later on, when I decide to make fun of Toon Force people again, he then comes back ready to argue with me again. But then every time I bring up, like, getting into a voice chat, hell, I even said that we can join in a Twitter space. Not, like, join Discord, but actually join a Twitter space that we can debate in front of everybody. And it would just be us talking. But then, like, he would just make up some lame excuse that I was supposedly gonna have people come into the to the Twitter space specifically to jump him, which I've never done. If anything, it's just gonna be me like arguing the whole time.
Someone else said something I wanted to reply to. My understanding, being able to break the laws of physics when you see fit is reality warping. Well, why are we assuming that like the laws of physics exist in the first place, right? Like that breaking them is like impressive or something like that.
Yeah. So that's something that also gets brought up, right? Is that, dude, this is one of the most popular arguments in my comments section is Luffy defying common sense, and I'm just here saying, what do you define as like? The whole phrase defying common sense is like such a vague and nebulous like phrase that's like it's contextual. What does that mean when he's defying common sense? And better yet, why does quote unquote defying common sense all of a sudden imply that Toon Force must be there? It's like it can't be anything else.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't make sense to me.
I think the whole idea that common sense is like some binding thing, that like defying is impressive, is really we can just demonstrate why that's wrong, right? Like we could talk about how we could talk about how in reality, like in our actual reality, everybody thinks for instance like elements work a certain way, like this is how the atom works, but in reality how atoms work is like radically different. So the common sense there would be wrong. I don't know. I think it's just another standard they're inventing. They just want Toon Force clearly. They don't care about what that actually means. It's another case of people not thinking about what their argument actually entails and then just making it and hoping that you don't have a counter.
Okay. Because like one of the common things I would often point to where it's like within the similar lines of like within like the similar argument, you could say that Blackbeard also similarly defies common sense in the same way that Luffy does, way before Gear 5 was even a thing, by demonstrating that he's now capable of using Whitebeard's devil fruit powers alongside his own, and everyone was talking about how if you eat two devil fruits, you will die. Like, there's just no if or about it. You will just straight up die. Like, even they were like Rob Lucci and them were just talking about how you will literally explode if you do that. And then Whitebeard and now in Blackbeard was just able to do that. But because Luffy is just doing something that's goofy, he gets the Toon Force label and Whitebeard doesn't. And not Whitebeard, Blackbeard. But the weird thing is too is that they Marco even talks about how Blackbeard's body is just an enigma.
We kind of see more about that in like the most recent chapter as well, right? Like they're talking about Blackbeard's lineage, and that kind of begs into a statement that Big Mom gave. But that's like a kind of a topic for another day. If we ever did like a actual dedicated like One Piece video, like discussion video, yeah. I think that's more like Tekking's realm of doing stuff.
Yeah.
He's kind of lucky in that regard. Unscripted, his videos are good. Like, damn. But what's called? Someone said, "What fictional verse contains negative dimensions?" Well, there's this thing that your computer can do. It's called Google, and you can look that up.
You'll probably find that out pretty easily.
Yep.
But I think the whole idea of that just kind of seems like, I don't know why you need to bother looking up something like that. I don't know.
We're not your search engine.
But someone said, like, I don't disagree with your position on Toon Force,
yeah, I was gonna
but your
read that.
stance on reality warping is what I'm confused on. So, the term reality warping is such a vague and nebulous term that literally you can almost say anything can be considered reality warping. Because if we take the words, like, quite literally, like, warping reality, like, me sitting right here in my chair is reality warping. Because I'm actively bending space by sitting and doing what I'm doing right now. Or walking around would be considered reality warping.
Yeah, some people will like appeal to intuition and be like, well, you know what reality warping means. and then they'll like try to name an example, and most of the time it's just space hacks. Like if you mean space hacks, then you mean space hacks. And I think you should just say it. It makes you sound way more intelligent than saying reality warping.
Yeah.
It's not 2013 anymore. We can actually articulate what hacks is. We don't need to resort to Toon Force and reality warping and omnipotence.
Yeah. Because that's ultimately where we're what the Toon Force people are ultimately doing is that they're appealing to some this intuition that there's this thing that everyone collectively agrees on, that supposedly characters just have like these Western animated characters just have this like bonkers like power system that doesn't need to get explained ever, but supposedly everyone just knows how it works, but no one has seemingly created like a standard of how we classify things as Toon Force and what just get simply read off as a gag. And whenever I talk to people in the comments section about it, they're just like, oh, we just know these things, or I'm just going to create these standards on the fly.
And I think a big thing too is, and I saw this on 4chan of all places, people thought, and I'm quoting, paraphrasing rather, that the role of the Toon Force is to like humiliate serious characters.
Yeah.
So if you have Bugs Bunny versus like Doom Guy, Bugs Bunny wins not because of feats, not because of statements, not because of anything, but because he's a toon and Doom Guy is like super serious. So he's supposed to humiliate Doom Guy by like doing whatever, and it's like all of this stuff is just invented by people.
Yeah.
I know people say, well, like every word's invented. No, but this is just like shit people made up with like no real backing. Like we'd never be able to really prove any of it. It's just like reliant on other like made up shit. And that's always been the problem with like Toon Force and especially like author inserts and stuff. It's just very like 2013 levels of some guy on a forum basically like told you it was this way and you believed him, and now we're here.
Yeah.
Spoiler warning, but we've moved on since then. We can actually verify how strong characters are without having to resort to dumb shit.
Yeah. Without having to resort to just being like it's just Toon Force, bro. What else do you need? What else do you need other than it's a something that is funny for the sake of the moment? Well, here, let me actually go to my comment section real quick, because somebody said,
yeah.
Let me try to find it.
That's always the thing I don't like about these streams, is that I want to reference very specific arguments I've seen, but like I don't keep tabs on every dumb argument I've ever seen, so I can pull up a screenshot to show I'm not straw manning or something. It's like I'm not responding to a specific argument because like I need to or something. I'm making an example. Like, someone said they want their verse to beat Goku, but they don't actually have any feats to back it up, so they say Magag carries your Toon Force. Yo, it's funny you say that.
My Toon Force. It's literally, that's literally why people want Luffy to be in like the relevant conversations with like him versus other shonen characters, so they can go like, but my Toon Force though. And this was demonstrated in like in this Twitter post that I made about how the black bulls from Black Clover would utterly destroy the Straw Hats, and the only Straw Hat that ever came into question about who might actually like live in regards to that fight was Luffy, and people are going like, well, but Toon Force, his Toon Force might actually make him survive.
It's like people like presuppose that like not only is Toon Force this like one-shot power apparently, but like nothing else ever works on Toon Force. Like if you're a ghost, right, and you're like intangible, Toon Force works on you for some reason, but you can't phase through the Toon Force character because reasons. Like it's just complete made-up bullshit. Like, man, it's just actually frustrating. People go straight to the no limits fallacy. Yeah, that's I just said that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it just goes straight to it one shots you because reasons. Like there's never actually a reason. Someone said Big Mom has the Toon Force. That apparently everyone might as well have Toon Force. Like,
yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Is that the Toon Force crowd is not like prepared for the semantic brainworms person, where they will literally take these super vague standards that are being seemingly created out of nowhere, and then being like, okay, well, I think this guy has Toon Force, and they'll be like, well, why? And then they will get into this whole thing where they use their now vague, arbitrary standards that are currently being made up on the fly, and be like, well, I think because of that, I think what would most people consider like a simple gag as, oh, this character now has Toon Force now. But they'll be like, no. It's like, that's stupid. No one will agree to that. And it's just like, that's not how we go about these conversations.
Oh, you thought you were slick, Surfbone. I heard you. You were getting close to Palpatine there. You knew what you knew what you were doing. You knew.
Oh my lord. So,
does Goku have Toon Force because he punches? No. I don't think interacting with like the manga panel is Toon Force. I think like those are like gag moments, sure, but like, how are we gonna? I'm asking this like rhetorically. Like, how do we quantify that, right? Like, how are we going to say this is Toon Force? It's like, so what does that do in a fight? You push someone out of the manga panel. Yamcha came right back, and Yamcha's actually trash. Like, it's clearly not something impressive in Dragon Ball, so why would it be impressive outside of it, right? Like, why isn't it just like a weird visual gag in Dragon Ball? Like, why is this something actually impressive? Like, another example would be in Marvel, She-Hulk can go to the gutter space. She can like walk outside of the panels and stuff. And that's like an actual like cosmology thing she can do. It's not just like it's Toon Force, She-Hulk's a gag character, she bodies, like, no.
So this is what a guy said. He said, Cap, everyone who knows what Toon Force is knows he has it. The fact that he ran on air and made glasses out of nothing for the comedic effect proves it. But to be honest, we need more feats like this. Luffy has limited Toon Force.
So,
which is funny that he's also saying that, because that presupposes that regular Toon Force is seemingly limitless in its applications.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a surprising position for him to hold, but what I was going to point out there is that what he says there is that because he's doing transmutation and, like, walking on air manipulation, I guess?
Well, it's just like...
Wait, I'm not done yet, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
Because he has those things and he's doing it to a comedic effect, it's suddenly Toon Force. Is because you're using a power as a joke that's Toon Force? Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that makes even less sense.
Yeah. Because you're basically making this arbitrary subset of when something is comedic, therefore it's now in the realm of it being considered Toon Force. And it's just weird that a lot of the people who are claiming Luffy has Toon Force only seem to say that he gets it when he achieves Gear 5 and not that they've always had Toon Force. Like here, for example, whenever we all know that Nami doesn't actually scale to Luffy, but then we have comedic scenes where he literally punches him and hurts him severely. Does Nami now have Toon Force now? Because the whole purpose of that was that it's a comedic gag and like a common trope in Japanese anime that like the female like side character beats up the male character whenever they're being stupid.
I mean, I have a better problem with the Toon Force argument. Take Kaido. Kaido fought Gear 4 Snake Man Luffy, and he beat his ass really bad, right? Then that same Snake Man, like, is basically stronger than Kizaru. The barrier did more damage to Snake Man than Kizaru did. So we have like Kaido above Kizaru, who scales to Gear 5, right? So we have actual scaling here with a quote-unquote Toon Force character. Does that mean Kizaru has like Toon Force? Do you have to have like some layer of resistance to fight them? Like, it's just stupid. Someone said Mixie doesn't have Toon Force. Well, Toon Force isn't a thing. Mixie has like 5th dimensional, I think it's science that he uses. It's like really advanced science that looks like magic. I could be wrong there, but no.
Oh, you know what's funny is so somebody was talking about the whole like running on air thing, and I was like, well,
yeah,
it could just easily be like the Skywalk, and it's just like a more advanced version of it.
Yeah,
And
100%.
I'm like, let me go back to the comment because it's just much easier if I just reiterate exactly what I said from there. Hold on. Where is it? Because I'm trying to find it. Which, it's something also to talk about is how essentially a lot of the people just think that because I mistakenly said that the skywalk was a basic demonstration of hockey, that somehow literally someone said that disproves my entire video. That's just because I got one thing wrong. Which again, I'm hopeful I might actually be hopefully wrong on that. And I completely agree that I shouldn't probably have just said that the skywalk is the result of hockey or something. That was probably not something
there is a line that implies, there is a line by Jinbei that implies that the Rokushiki powers, Skywalk, the finger gun, the paper dodge thing that no one ever uses, and all that stuff are like training tools for hockey. When he's fighting, what's his face? Who's Who. When he's fighting Who's Who, Jinbei uses hockey, and he's like, oh, or should I say Tekai? Implying that Tekai is just like a training tool for armament hockey. I would think a series like MLP would have Toon Force. I mean, I've been grandstanding. I don't think Toon Force exists ever at all in any medium, unless it's like a power within the verse itself. Right? Like, I don't think Toon Force is like ever a power.
Someone literally said that like Toon Force is just a composite power, effectively. Like, it's just, again, people think that Toon Force just gives you anything when it's essentially what I explained in the video was what it might have been based on was how Walt Disney explains how when it comes to animation in general, that the animator will bend what is true in reality to fit specific moments in a way where it's still like a thing that can only happen in fiction, but it's still kind of on the basis of what's true, but is like wacky enough to where it's just a thing that happens in fiction. And one of the examples that he gives for this is like, although like Mickey goes off a cliff, but he only seemingly realizes that he's going to be affected by gravity the moment he looks down and sees that there's a ravine below him. And if he gains enough momentum on running on air, that he could then make it to the cliff before gravity effectively pulls him down. And it's like, throughout the explanation, I just gave some like reasoning as to why that happens, without him just saying like, well, Toons just have this weird thing to them, and they have these random powers that activate out of nowhere.
Someone said like something about Goku and Beerus like in VSB. Just don't read VSB. They suck. They've always sucked. You're wasting your time. Like, they're just terrible.
Yeah.
There's no real point. Someone just said get a job. Surfbone's in the Air Force.
Yeah.
He has tomorrow off. Yeah.
I literally am in the military, bro.
He lives.
I do this as a side hustle, more or less.
Yeah. He lives at work, literally.
Yeah. I'm living on base right now.
Oh. Yeah, he loves those omelets.
My omelets.
If Toon Force is limited, then no Toon Force character can kill another Toon Force character. Oh no, for sure. And I'd love to see someone like demonstrate like a model for actually scaling Toon Force characters, right? Like actually demonstrate how this should work and all this stuff, but no one ever will. And even if they do, it's not going to be like something that we can like apply to like a reality and test if it's true. It's just going to be a bunch of made up bullshit. It's kind of like the people who use author statements. They fight tooth and nail for them, and the minute they're done, you're going to hear about this one that they wanted to use the whole time.
they added limited Toon Force on DBS and Goku for and VSB.
Yeah.
That's how just in the mud versus Battle Wiki is that they're just willing to pander because they don't know how to explain Kid Goku breaking a panel and just being like, you know what, like, we'll give you guys Toon Force because we're not willing to work against it.
I'm surprised they even have Toon Force though. I'm surprised like Ultima hasn't thrown a bitch fit about how you can't like mathematically prove Toon Force exists. Then again, he's probably been gaslamped into thinking math doesn't matter anymore. Who knows?
Yeah. Did I shoot anyone in the military? No, I'm not. I'm in the Air Force.
Yeah, he deals with metal.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Actually, no,
he watches paint dry. He watches paint dry.
That was a few days ago, but I'm not going to talk about that. But my job is essentially I'm a weapons mechanic for the B-1B bomber. And that's what my job is. I'm a weapons mechanic. I don't work on guns, but I work on like the sticks and the modules and like the SECBMs, the things that like the bomb racks attach to, and the bomb racks are obviously what the bombs eventually attach to.
Someone said, real fast, I'm gonna read. Does the mask have Toon Force? Probably not. He probably has like his own mask abilities, right?
Yeah. Well, it's just like his powers just come from the mask, and then whatever the mask like has in terms of abilities, it's just derived from the mask. I don't know why we need to do this whole, again, extra step where we have to say that it classifies under Toon Force. It doesn't do anything more to explain the whole purpose behind the mask's abilities. Like,
yeah, no,
like,
100%.
Like, isn't there like a whole thing about? I think it was stated in the movie itself how the mask is derived from the god like Loki, the god of tricks, of like the god of tricksters and the god of mischief, and that he literally created that mask and everything, and so anything wacky is the result of him like literally giving his god powers to that. So it's not even Toon Force; it's literally god powers.
Oh, I want to read. Someone said all fiction is pretty good. No, all fiction is full of plagiarists. They're actually pretty bad. They like endorse plagiarism. Someone said, like, people apparently arguing about, like, JJK being uni, and they checked. It's like, whatever. Like, you hear stuff through the grapevine. I mean, who really cares at the end of the day? It's
Someone
not...
said, never try to, talk sense into One Piece fans. They made their life's mission to analyze a children's cartoon about Japanese pirates that can't swim.
I mean, you say that, but people, like... There are people right now who are getting degrees in analyzing, like, American comics. And we see this even, like... People obviously put a lot of classical literature on like a bar, but there are people reading books that are bad, like actual like terrible quality books, but just because they're in another language and they're old. Like there are people who are experts on quote unquote like French literature, but to get in their niche, they're reading books that are admittedly bad just to talk about how literature developed. Reading One Piece ain't too much of a stretch.
Well, the thing is too, I think people don't realize that there are people who, what's it called? There are actually people from the One Piece community that have legit gotten full-fledged, like, jobs just because they were super analysts of One Piece, like, what's his name?
Artur?
Like, Artur.
Yeah,
he literally...
Yeah,
like,
Artur's a legend.
Yeah, Artur is basically the biblical scholar of One Piece, who is so well known for how well he like basically reads One Piece and how many times he goes through it to find like little bits and details that he got hired for the Netflix One Piece like special to basically be the local expert on what's there in One Piece and to add in these like little gags or these background elements that reference the old that reference the manga or the anime or whatever. Just to add in that little bit of One Piece in there, just so fans can find it.
Someone said, how do you plagiarize power scaling? Well, same way you plagiarize anything. You just take what someone else did and don't give credit. And analytics, like for if we're like analyzing any series, it's not like exempt from plagiarism or something like that. If you steal like someone's essay about like Gilgamesh, that's not like fine because Gilgamesh was a story and like you're already analyzing it. Like no, you can still steal that kind of work. Artor's Library of Ohara. He is like the One Piece scholar. Do you think custodies are FTL? There is definitely an argument for it. There's also like an inaccessible speed argument as well because of the end and the death. Someone else that we've been talking to, Kilos has been saying, so Looney Tune characters just have actual hacks that you would use. Yeah, yes. I don't know what hacks they would have specifically, but yeah, they would just have like space hacks, maybe like portal creation or I think like there's actually like a hacks that people made for hammers. Like a lot of people call it hammer space, but I think there is actually hacks listed for like you can hide stuff in like a hidden inventory. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of surprising to me that Marshmallow doesn't know who Artor is, but he's supposedly been around like the One Piece community in terms of power scaling longer than I have.
Yeah, like if you were reading like the Vivera cards, the translation came from Artor. 100% came from Artor.
So let's show everybody who's like One Piece knowledge. Let me just look up One Piece Vivera cards.
Yeah, if once you show what they look like, people will know. Like they've used them before, but yeah, Artor's an absolute like legend. He's actually like a really cool guy. I talked to him on Twitter once. Like really nice guy.
Here we go.
I hope this gets back to him. Like, yeah, there were these two power scalers, and they were basically just like stroking your ego all on stream. Yeah. I was like, yeah, he does good shit. Will you plan to making stream about Marvel and DC Comics' most powerful entities? Probably not. I don't think anything we would add into the fire there would do much.
So if you've seen any of these images on either Twitter or in Discord arguments or whatever, the guy that made all these translations, Library of Ohara, right there. That is Artor. He made all of these are all the scans that came from him. If you ever see something that looks like this, that's basically him trying to translate the Vivera cards.
Yep. I wouldn't say trying. He does know Japanese. He's fluent in Japanese. Like most of the time in this community, you'll hear about like content creators, and you'll instantly assume like, oh well, the power scalers probably know more about the series than they do. Yeah. But Artor is like that rare exception where he is just like the most knowledgeable on One Piece, period. Mm-hmm. Like he is just an absolute lad. So, yeah, I mean, and like I said, he's a nice guy too. I've talked to him on Twitter. Yeah. Really nice guy.
He's like one of the few, like big creators when it comes to, talking about One Piece that isn't toxic or an absolute degenerate. Like he actually, does know what he's talking about, and isn't like super egotistical about it.
Yeah. And there are other creators who, aren't toxic. Tekking, really nice guy too.
Oh yeah, Tekking is also like another like enigma. Like he's like the outlier of like One Piece content creators who just loves talking about One Piece.
Yeah, he like gets up every day, sits in front of his computer, like, oh boy, I can't wait to talk about One Piece, and he just like churns out actually like good content. Mm-hmm.
What's funny is like, so someone's like, is he even more knowledgeable than Oda than himself? Which honestly is arguable, but you could probably say that Oda technically knows more knowledge than he does because he knows what the end of One Piece is and Artor doesn't.
Yeah, Artor, it's like one of those things, like, I feel like, I feel like if you went, like, in that route, maybe, but, like, the thing is like, Oda takes, like, detailed notes, and I feel like he checks them a lot, but you have to remember, the Easter eggs added into the Netflix show were after Oda looked through it, and they were added by Artor, so that should say something. I think Artor has, like, a better eye for detail on that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, because it's like Oda is seemingly doesn't always like reread his stuff, and that's kind of like a trait of most other authors, and why you can't just always assume that the authors know more, because usually the person that's more knowledgeable or more akin to knowing what occurred within the series are someone who either just recently went through it, or somebody who has reread it several times, or just reread it, because you're eventually going to find something new on a reread every time. And that's why when I remember talking to Parrot about this, that he's basically like, you'll always come to something new, like new interpretation, whenever you reread something. You'll never see a story the same way again whenever you reread it.
I mean, your way of saying Artur is funny. From my understanding, that's how he likes it said. I might be wrong. I mean, I can ask him on Twitter at some point, but if we're actually mispronouncing it or whatever, then we're sorry. This is just how I've heard his name said.
Yeah.
Someone said, like, people are saying, like, this character is, like, above all fiction. That's a common argument. It's just, like, categorically wrong. Like, if we made a category that was all fiction, that would include My Little Pony, whatever. You don't then get to say it's above that whole category while also being inside of it. That's just nonsensical.
I think.
And does anyone remember when the one above all, or I'm assuming the Unwritten Leviathan? No, they were never considered the strongest in fiction. I was there when the arguments were being made for the Unwritten Leviathan, and even then we knew it wasn't the strongest in fiction.
I remember there was like a whole thing. I think it'd be funny to kind of like glaze over. Would be like when like a bunch of the content creators, even Artur, did like a whole like top 50 of like their strongest like One Piece characters. I think it'd be kind of funny to look through that.
Maybe later. Probably kind of different stream. I don't want to prep for it because there's probably like topics in there that I'd want like very specific scans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Can you? I hate the little heart emoji.
You hate the heart emoji?
Well, the little heart emoji at the bottom right, because it covers up messages. It covers up part of the message.
Yeah. Oh, you're probably looking on your phone. That's why.
No, I'm on computer. I can take a screenshot of it. It's probably because of your channel that it doesn't pop up. Isn't all fiction just concept? Is this like supposedly like a power that people are saying people have?
All fiction is a specific ability from what's it, Madaka, like yeah, Madaka books.
Yeah, it probably is just super wanked then. Does anyone actually know who the strongest in fiction is? Currently there are two front runners that actually have like proper arguments for them, and it would be like Yog-Sothoth from the Cthulhu mythos, or like the creator from Umineko, and those two have like the best arguments for them.
Yeah, typically I don't usually like that stuff, because what happens if there's just like that one fictional character from some like fiction that no one has ever read that's seemingly about that?
I mean, that could be, but it's the strongest so far. Like it's like what's the biggest shark we've found so far? It's not saying it's the biggest shark ever. It's saying this is the biggest one we've found.
Sam just became a channel member.
Yep.
Actually,
the only time I've seen
we can probably
was 2006. Yeah, 100%.
Sam, we can probably drag you up at this point.
Yeah.
Sam is another viewer that's kind of been around for a while, and has said that he'll literally give me $200 just so he can be on stream. So.
Yeah, I mean, either way, Sam's a cool guy, and he asked very nicely to come on stream. So, we figured why not.
Well, he's like, I'll literally give you a paycheck.
Yeah, so it's win-win either way. I mean, Sam's a cool guy, so. Fiction is an infinite frontier. I mean, it is, yeah. Well, actually, it's finite, but you know. But to pretend like we can't, like I said, it's not like this is the biggest shark ever. This is the biggest shark we've found so far. Obviously, there could be strong, but until it's presented, I'm not gonna pretend like we would know thereby that any character I ever knew is like slot number 5, right?
All right. So, Sam, you are now live with us.
Good.
Nirvana, you're 100% right there, and that's something I touched on earlier. Where the armchair power scalers would put like omnipotent characters in their own tier. But it was like they would only apply that if they were the supreme being as well, but they wouldn't they were so close. They were so close to actually being right, you know? Where it's like, oh well, maybe we should actually scale off of AP and like area of effect and not just like their omnipotent bro. Why Yogg, big cosmology, go burr. That's about it.
Big cosmology, go burr.
Yeah, like that's like every strong character. Like
someone said, "How strong is Surf Cat and Illuminati astronaut guardian?" I guess that's how he just that's how he described your character, which is
wait. I'm gonna send you a DM real fast and then I'll answer that. I'll answer that question.
How strong your character is.
Yeah.
Surf Cat is boundless, Cope.
What'd you say?
I said the Surf Cat is boundless.
The Surf Cat is boundless. Actually, wait, hold on. I just realized, because you're in VC now. I can just... Hold on. I gotta copy that. Put you into OBS.
So am I allowed to do that, Surfbone? Keep your DM.
Oh, for me?
I DM'd you something. I'm just saying, am I allowed to because there's something I want to mention in regards. So am I allowed to?
Well, here, one sec. I'm literally adding Sam to the stream.
Oh, word. Yeah,
there we go. Now, Sam, your character, your little like Discord PFP is right there now.
All right. Can you peep DM?
Yep. Fujitech, go burr. All right. Let me see.
Wanted to say that, right?
Yeah, we can talk about him.
All right, yeah. So back in the day, so funny you mentioned that. Whoever said like my character versus Surfbone's, back in the day, Seth and Chuck did a video on one of their avatars fought, and it was really funny. Yeah, that's just something I wanted to mention. I thought it was really funny. But no, my character isn't. Well, I guess it is technically an astronaut, but it's an Eldar from Warhammer. Outer or higher is a nightmare to scale, in my opinion, because cosmology goes bruh, and it can get confusing. 100%.
Honestly,
300%.
yes, that is true. I will say I don't blame people for finding the higher tiers confusing. My issue is when people get so confused by it that they'll just straight up deny the existence of such scaling.
Yeah.
Like that's when I start having a problem.
Hear. I'm gonna check the audio real fast. I'm gonna go on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
where's Surfbone? I'm right here. I'm in the cat.
Surf. I DM'd you a better picture if you want to use that one. But yeah.
Oh no,
okay.
the audio was
so here. I'll send you what you can use. So it's something called. So for people who don't know what I'm using for these characters on screen, it's something called Reactive Fujitech. And if you're streaming, you can literally just send somebody a link that's in the call right now, and then they could just log on to their Discord, so whenever they join like this, and I have it like added to OBS, their character will just automatically pop up. And also, because I just sent Sam this link, he can now edit his own character in just a second. The thing that he sent me will just be added there.
Actually, could you move my character a little bit more, or like put me on top of you so people can see the change?
Yeah, I see what you're talking about here.
Yeah. Someone said people take the word transcend and blow it out of the water. Yeah, and that's kind of the problem that like any of us have had who have tried to tell people stuff is people don't want to understand. They just want to, like, caveman brain ooga booga. It's always been. Yeah, and Killos, yeah, what Dark King is saying there is true. Oh.
But yeah,
I forgot to
don't worry, I saw
read
your message, Marshmallow. I'll just say this because, like, Sam also had to pay in order to get on here.
I didn't pay yet.
Yeah, you didn't pay yet. But
I was gonna say something
it's because
else,
I
but-
know you will pay that I'm even giving you this benefit of the doubt. But,
It's more that Sam has been like a constant supporter on streams. He's always been like nice and cordial and doesn't annoy the fuck out of me and other servers.
That is true.
So,
but I will
I know
say this
when you guys start getting pissed,
because
so.
Marshmallow, for a few reasons as well, because I've already have you banned from my server, and having you come on stream means I have to therefore unban you and probably unblock you as well. Okay, I'm just joking.
I can't. I was so for anyone, well, a lot of people don't know because I don't think I told Surf. I mentioned on stream I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh at one point. In Marshmallow in a server I barely talk in anymore asks me and is like, "Oh, what play me in Yu-Gi-Oh?" It's like I'm not gonna play you in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, no, go away. Like, dog. It's a beautiful.
For clarification,
I'm-
CSAP's tiering system is the one that Surf and Hashi use. Yeah, and it's
Yep.
more or less like what we helped create as well, along with other
Yeah.
people. But Extraversal was also Hashi's idea.
Yep, it was all me.
Re.
And yeah, Ray.
So, Surf, I have some notes written down about what you guys were talking about on stream.
Okay.
I'm gonna DM you this picture real quick if you want to share with the stream.
Sure.
Yeah, because Hashi brought up like Hammer Space earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, there's a scene in Into the Spider-Verse where they talk about it. So I'm just like, does that? I'm just like gonna ask like, how does that apply to like if they mention
Oh
in
my
canon
God.
universe?
Oh, this is funny actually.
Yeah, because I'm like, if they in universe talk about Hammer Space or Toon Force, like how does that
Well,
work?
that's completely different other than just assuming that it's a thing that exists. Because the term hammer space came from like this as far as I'm aware, it came from this like little comic somebody made about trying to explain how Toon stuff like Toon physics works. And that they're like, "Oh, well hammer space is this extra dimensional space where characters just pull things out of nowhere for the sake of like a moment." And I'll just show it on screen for everybody.
I don't really mind hammer space being a thing because it's like it's descript enough. Like you're describing what a character does. It's not too bad. Like it's like, oh, they pull something out of seemingly nowhere. It's like, all right, I know what that's doing. But if we said like hammer space means like you're this strong, then we have a problem.
Yeah. So I don't know if you sent it to Hashi as well as Sam.
No, I just sent it to you.
Yeah.
I can send it out.
So it's already it's like an annotation within the film itself that says that hammer space is an infinite extra dimensional storage area for cartoon hammers and the like.
Yeah. I mean that's like defined in the verse too. So it's like even better. Like,
yeah. So it's literally so unlike how people classify Toon Force, hammer space is something that's woefully like acknowledged within the actual series itself that it's something that exists.
Yeah, because
it's not just saying Toon Force, like it's not like people are just assuming that Toon Force exists there and are applying these arbitrary standards so that they can say it does. No, like the Spider-Verse is literally verbatim saying that hammer space is real.
Yeah, I was gonna say like they basically
There's
explain-
nothing. There's
they
no
don't-
like arbitrary like made up headcanon bullshit to say that. It's just right there for everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say like they basically explain like yeah, this is what hammer space is. It actually has a definition to it. It's not just funny Toon Force thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like comparable to like Doctor Who shit where they say, oh yeah, it's bigger on the inside. Like it's just literally just an alternate dimension that's fucking really big. That's literally what they're saying it is.
I don't like that comparison because like no one's trying to like no one really says like this thing's like this thing is like a TARDIS so it scales this high or whatever, right? But with like hammer space, people try to use something like that to scale things to Toon Force or what have you. But when you have this like established power, it works a certain way and it's described that way. Good, that's what it should be, right?
Yeah, I brought up the TARDIS as an example to be like, oh yeah, it's just a different space that is just bigger. It's not an actual like power or Toon Force. I think it's just like a place that you have access to. So.
Well, the issue I have with like the Toon Force crowd is they take works like to mean is. So like it works like, you know, Hammer Space works like this Bugs Bunny gag, so it is a Bugs Bunny gag, and therefore it's really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. What is even happening anymore? I left the stream to eat dinner. We're mostly kind of just shooting the shit, which is what a stream mostly is anyway.
Yeah, we were having so what happened earlier this morning is, well, I think it was last night. Did we decide to stream? Or no, it was this morning, I think.
It was this morning. I asked you if you would be down personally.
Yeah, we basically did, we were talking about Laser Pig, and then we were like, maybe we should just stream. And it's like, alright, let's do it.
Yeah. Is it better to use CSAP than VSB, or is it not much of a difference? So, I think it's much better for you to use CSAP or character stats and profiles than versus Battle Wiki. And
I have a caveat there, actually. If you are dealing with anything below universal, it really doesn't matter, unless you are specifically doing matchups. In that case, you want to use, ideally, if there's one both on CSAP, you would use that. But if you're using VSB for matchups, and for whatever reason, you're below universal where the changes are like 1 joule apart or something, right? You want to make sure you agree with the other person that you're not actually using the profiles for characters. Anything below universal, they're basically the same tiering system. It doesn't really matter. But what's on the profile can matter. If you're above universal, use CSAP every time.
Yeah. The Bugs Bunny writers aren't gonna like that Toon Force isn't real. So here's the thing. When you remove Toon Force and say that it isn't real, it doesn't change anything about a character scaling. All you do by introducing Toon Force as a concept is make the whole thing about themselves and their power system much more convoluted and much more fanfiction and headcanon. Because you're assuming that this omnipresent force that apparently exists across all forms of media is like the reason why, like, say, like Bugs Bunny or any other character is capable of what they're capable of, and that all the feats that they've ever demonstrated is because of that. But if you just remove Toon Force, basically you're just saying that all of these feats that, like, say, Bugs Bunny performs are the result of his own power system, of his own powers and feats and what he's capable of. Just adding in Toon Force just makes things way more complicated, because you're now inserting this new, like, speculation on how their powers work or where they come from. That's why I made, like, the whole thing in my video about the whole reason why Toon Force is really a thing is because people were getting upset that it's not like a Western comic book or a Japanese anime or manga where every little detail gets explained about how the internal power system works. But because that doesn't happen in Western animation, they have to invent one. Because they need a why or a how when it comes to these characters' abilities, when we could just not have to do that. Because no actual explanation really exists. At least there's not enough evidence for that to be the case.
No, for sure. Yeah, whether you call it a set of abilities by a certain name or not doesn't change the fact that a character can do it. It's just a label. Well,
exactly.
It's not the problem. Wait, actually, it's not like, alright. So it's like, you say they have Toon Force, right? And it's like, well, that means they can do certain things. And it's like, sure, any ability means someone can do certain things. The issue is that people think Toon is some tag you put on an ability that makes it, like, unbeatable if you're not a Toon.
Yeah.
And that's where the issue, like, for instance, the issue I have with, like, reality warping being a term is really pedantic. It is literally just, we're above that, please don't degrade yourself, right? The issue I have with Toon Force is, like, a mechanical issue with how people scale. Someone said, but hey, with freedom of speech is nigh infinite, should be expected, but I don't know what you're what you're responding to there. I thought you were gonna say something about saying nigh infinite, because I think nigh infinite is a really interesting term as well.
Yeah, but like basically what people think like having Toon Force is literally just being built different. And that
Actually, holy shit.
That's basically what it is. Is that if you have Toon Force, you are just built different and you don't really apply to a lot of these power scaling discussions because you're just a Toon and you're weird and you just win. Because
exactly.
reasons.
It just undercuts the discussion. It's literally on the same tier as it's saying it's up to the author.
Polio, do you mind actually telling me what episode that is so I can watch that? Because I've seen a bunch of things talk about how the Animaniacs explain it, and I haven't seen what that episode is, so I was wondering if you can actually tell me what that episode is so I can watch it later.
He literally says episode 1.
Oh, it's in episode 1?
In episode 1? Cool. Oh, okay. Is this in the new series or the old one?
In the old one, don't they have the country song and they say the Soviet Union? Because the Soviet Union was still around. That's always something. It's something that's always funny. Like when you can date a show by if they mention the Soviet Union.
Yeah. Why is there an universal Demon Slayer on character stats? Because anybody can create any profile they want on character stats.
Oh, my groceries are here. I'm gonna run and grab that real fast. Sam Taggin.
Sam Taggin. I said it was in one episode, not episode 1. I don't remember which one it was. I watched it a long time ago. If somebody can tell me which episode it is, I would like to know that. Because I could just make because who knows? Maybe I'll make a revised video on Toon Force itself based off of that one episode, if it helps better explain stuff about what Toon Force might be. If it's even a thing. Or people should just not stop scaling toons since they're not built for scaling or battles. So that's the issue. Is I don't like it when people make claims like that, because essentially is that we're giving, it's like the whole gag character situation where you're saying because of a certain aspect of them is really confusing and convoluted, we should just not talk about them in these versus discussions, which I think is just really lazy. And that you're essentially giving them that bone of like, I give up, because you're not willing to deal with their bullshit. So you're just saying like, oh, well, we're just not going to talk about the characters you want to talk about anymore. Just because I don't want to address the dumb headcanon that you're bringing up about how Toon Force works for all these like Western animation characters. When you can just say, we should treat all these quote-unquote Toon Force characters in Western animated characters the same way you do for any other fictional character, which is base what they're capable of with what they're shown to be capable of, not just speculate because of some random like arbitrary rule set that they created. Tiny Toons episodes where they explain it, I'll have to look that up later. Tiny Toons season 2 episode 6. I will note that down. Tiny Toons, season 2, episode 6. Okay. Hi from Brazil. What tier would you give Wally West? I mean, it depends on which version. Like, what era of Wally West. Also, I don't really scale comics like that. He does read like some like outer-versal stuff. I will say that. There is some outer stuff for Wally West, definitely.
I literally just looked it up. The episode is called Toon Physics, so it might be an interesting watch.
Yeah, it's definitely something I might need to watch later. I literally saw like on the Wikipedia that there's something like that the Animaniacs literally explain something about Toon Physics, which is definitely interesting to hear that there's actually, it might be an explanation for it, so who knows.
Alright, I'm back. Wasn't groceries, but I had to take my trash out anyways, so.
Yep.
L.
So, apparently there's an Animaniacs episode that explains the whole idea of Toon physics.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I mean,
it's something we'll have to watch later.
there's kind of the issue there of us like, and you were doing research about this before you dropped the video, but it's like we can say it works like whatever, like this one, but that's just how their Toon physics work. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So, food for thought.
Hashi, someone's asking where the otters scale.
The otters, wherever they want to.
Guys, are
Yeah,
beyond the tier
they're just little
thing.
guys. Look at them.
They're little dudes. Oh, that's my fun.
Bruh, how do people remember the tags for different tiers? I don't get how y'all remember 1A or 6C. To be honest, I don't.
There's only a few that most of us remember,
Yeah,
anyways.
and
It's like,
it's only because they're just used so often that it's like, for instance, I know that low 2C means universal plus, for instance. And it's only because, again,
a lot of
people
us
just,
say it.
Yeah, instead of just saying universal plus, people will just say low 2C.
Yep, it's like 1A, high 1B, high 1A, 1S, and that's all people have
Yeah,
memorized.
I don't
fine.
remember. Like, if you ask me what tier is planet level in terms of like the numerical like distinction for it, I do not know.
Oh, I know which one. What one? What's called solar system? It's 4B. I know that
4B.
too. Yeah, 4B.
Yeah.
Run out of stone? Really? We can run out of stone?
I'm pretty sure you said that you don't believe in the Orale mirror, but I'm curious why. Dr. Slump is objectively canon and shares the same planet / versus Dragon Ball, so statements from the series should apply to it. So, when it comes to the Orale stuff, it's not that I'm saying I don't believe in the Orale meta, it's that Goku doesn't scale to Orale in any, like, into any form. And even then, like, the highest end interpretation of Orale doesn't even get her to outer or whatever. And I think the argument for her even being like high hyperversal is a humongous stretch, like a huge stretch. And I know that there's like the whole thing about like in the El Manga Legendario that Goku end of series is like the strongest character or whatever. And I've seen like some people like try to talk about, oh well, that means he's stronger than Orale. But the problem with that is like the only thing that's really relevant here is about whether or not that it means he's faster than her, because Orale actually does just have an immeasurable speed feat.
I think the bigger issue is why is Orale like objectively canon to Dragon Ball? It's a bit wonky.
I want to know what that.
Yeah, the only time, every time she pops up, it's treated as a crossover, as if she shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Every argument for every character to get to outer is a stretch. No, I don't. I think
that's not how that works.
no. There are characters I know of that have like 40 outer statements in every permutation you can think of. Do you think Luffy is planet level?
Yes.
Yeah. He scales like Kaido. Kaido should scale to Whitebeard. So it's like,
yep.
Even if you think like Whitebeard's stronger, he's definitely not like infinitely weaker or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Luffy has definitely gotten to those tiers where he now can be compared to old Whitebeard now.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think like Kaido versus old Whitebeard, I think Kaido does just win that. Mm-hmm. Kaido versus prime Whitebeard, I think is like way more debatable.
Yeah. Because like the whole thing is like Kaido was literally about to roll up to Marineford specifically to fight Whitebeard and see if like he's about to, if he's capable of like getting into like a death match with him. And he previously just came across Shanks too, who Shanks was just able to clash with old Whitebeard and split the sky and everything. So the scaling just checks out.
I've seen a map that places Orale's hometown on the Dragon Ball map. I mean,
I know what that map is. That only exists in the Funimation RBG rulebook that doesn't exist in the
Oh,
actual data book.
that's clown.
It doesn't exist in the Daizenshu.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually
Since
exist there.
it described as toon physics, wouldn't the Looney Tune powers just fall under physics hacks? I mean, depending what they're doing. I mean, I don't think like it's one of those things where like hacks eat themselves, as I mentioned. Like I can do like what if I do teleportation because I turn myself into fire, put myself out, and reignite myself across the planet, right? That's like teleportation via fire hacks, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like hacks aren't these like rigid categories. It's more like just trying to explain what you're doing, or what your character is gonna do, etc. So.
Yeah, someone in the chat mentioned that it's in Animaniacs Season 1, Episode 3. I just looked it up. Yeah, Yako just sings, yeah, I'm a cartoon character. I do silly shit. That's my job. That's really what he does.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing that's like, that's the thing that I think is really funny about, the Looney Tunes stuff, is that they're more or less like, self-aware that, like, even though they do silly stuff, it's limited, they're limited by their whole purpose of, like, them doing stuff is for the sake of entertainment, and like the whole thing in
We got a super chat.
yeah, like I'll get to that in a second, but the whole like Who Framed Roger Rabbit is like, oh, I only have been able to get out of the handcuffs until like the moment where it's actually funny. But
Yeah, for those most people who don't know, because a lot of people who watch that video aren't subscribed to the channel and were detractors of the idea, that Surfbone was like watching loads of stuff trying to figure out where Toon Force came from. He actually put a lot of work into researching it.
yeah.
Christian, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce your last name, man. If you wanna phonetically.
Christian says granola over a Raleigh due to his wish. That's actually a pretty good argument, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's a much better argument. Yeah. Let's see. So someone else said something. I just want to see a Luffy shaking the planet feat. Well, Luffy scales to somebody who scales to somebody who did do that, i.e. Whitebeard.
Yeah.
So, funny you should say that.
Like, yeah, like the whole point of like why Whitebeard was so scary is that he's that they're like, oh yeah, he could destroy the world with this devil fruit, and the whole reason why Marineford wasn't just immediately sunk to the bottom of the ocean, like the moment he shows up, was because Ace was there, and even Sengoku literally acknowledges this fact, and because Ace had been killed, he's like, all right, like Whitebeard is pissed off now. He doesn't have any other reason to not just sink Marineford right now.
And the whole time Whitebeard's like dying, Sengoku is shitting his pants at how strong Whitebeard is. They underestimated him the whole time. Like Whitebeard is like, there's a scene where like Sengoku is like, how is he this strong?
Where does the 0 point scale? I really want to answer this. It's funny.
Please don't talk about Fortnite.
I want to answer his question, Hashi.
Someone said something I want to respond to. Oh, yeah, Kaido didn't show up till like 400 more episodes. Well, it's because Shanks stopped him. Blame Shanks. Don't blame Kaido.
Yeah, but blame Shanks.
Also, the Admirals would have died if it was Whitebeard and Kaido who showed. Oh, and probably Shanks would have shown up too. Let's be real here. He would have popped up right after.
Because Seth has been getting some slack for saying this. The Admirals suck.
No, they're weak.
Admirals. The Admiral agenda is currently falling right now, and it has been falling for years. And it's the copium agenda. And just as like Hashi has told me one time, and I ended up saying this on Twitter, is that the Admiral fans are basically the flat earthers of the One Piece community.
Alright, I think that's what my groceries.
Yeah.
And Sam, you got this.
Huh? I still want to answer Derek's question from earlier.
What was Derek's question?
He's asking for the 0 point scales in Fortnite.
Oh my god.
Just in a nutshell, the 0 point is fucking... It's beyond everything in existence because it created everything in existence. There's your answer.
Okay.
Yeah, so technically it scales everywhere and nowhere at the same time, so...
When is the Shanks versus Mihawk video? So when it comes to the Shanks versus Mihawk stuff, I actually plan to because this certain YouTuber doesn't like spoiling videos before he even like announces them or something. I'm actually going to be helping somebody with that topic in itself instead of doing it myself. And honestly, I think it'd be better for them to do it instead of me, and it'll get more views. If the Admiral fans are the Flat Earthers, what makes Kuros the leader of the Flat Earthers? I mean, the Marineford Admirals, yeah. Current Kizaru is at the very least up there, not putting too much stock into Green Bull, though. Well, the thing is that current Kizaru, is getting folded by Gear 5 Luffy. He is getting folded every single time he shows up. Like, people talk about, like, make up this copium that Kizaru is supposedly holding back or stalling or all that stuff. Or he's not, like, going all out. Well, Luffy is actively fatigued before he even fights Whitebeard. Like, he literally goes into Gear 5 and fights Rob Lucci in it and gets super fatigued afterwards. It even stated by himself when he was talking to Zoro that he often goes all out a lot of the times whenever he fights. And that when Kizaru kicks him away when he was in Snake Man, he literally kicks him into the force field that everyone said if they would try to barge through, they would die. In which Luffy literally says that almost killed him. Didn't we just prove the Emperors were stronger than the Admirals and Shanks scared the crap out of Green Bull? I mean, that was literally it. Like, people just ultimately forget that that if the Admirals wanted to pull up to Wano, and if they were that much stronger than Kaido, they would have. But as Green Bull stated, the reason why they didn't pull up on Wano and establish their dominance and their forces there was because of Kaido. Literally, Kaido's presence kept them from barging onto or even, like, stepping foot onto Wano because they didn't want to, like, get around Kaido. And the Admirals and the Marines know how strong Kaido is because they constantly fuck with him whenever Kaido decides he wants to kill himself or whenever he wants to get food. So he ends up letting himself get captured by them. And then after that, he would then just break free. Like, there's a whole, like, memory card explaining, like, Kaido's, like, freaking backstory when it comes to that. And it's actually kind of insane how they describe it. Here, like, let me see if I can find it. Because it's actually kind of insane. Because I sent it to, somebody before.
I'm back. Let's go.
Surfbone, Mihawk is the strongest in the Versified title, and Shanks is a fraud rat.
Stop! No.
Oh, no.
No. Slow
Shanks
Assassin,
has
please don't
feats.
invite the Mihawk fans in here, please. Please.
If
You know,
here,
I'm willing
I
to
want them
make
to
a
argue.
truce with the Mihawk stands as long as we agree that both Shanks and Mihawk beat all the Admirals at once.
True. True.
Yes.
Honestly, I've even said this, that I'm actually becoming more tolerant of the Mihawk fans lately, because the Admiral fans are just far worse, and what they argue for is far... like, honestly, because there's a lot about Mihawk we just don't know yet, that,
Yeah.
like, he could just ultimately prove everybody wrong one day, and just come up with stuff. And just come up with feats that ultimately prove that he is in that tier up with Shanks and all of them. But the Admirals have ultimately proven that they are not up there.
Wait, pause. This is important. Christian, also sent another super chat while I was gone. We read your super chat, dude.
Yeah.
You sent another one? Yeah, we read it.
Yeah, we saw it, bro.
Yeah, we said
We
it was a
did
good
agree
argument.
with it.
Yeah, we said that's actually like a cool argument. Yeah.
Yeah. I even mentioned the whole Arali stuff.
Yeah, no, we didn't ignore it, dude.
Yeah,
You didn't hear us. We're sorry, but
Yeah, Nashi even said that, like, he mentioned your first name, but he didn't want to even try to pronounce your last name.
yeah, sorry, man. If you didn't hear us read it, we're sorry, but we did read it.
Yeah.
We love you all.
let's see. I wouldn't say the Admirals are weak per se, like your average Joe isn't taking them down easily. In the story, though, it took 3 Admirals to even have even footing with a sick and dying Whitebeard. That's what I'm saying! That's what I'm saying!
Worse than that.
Like, Whitebeard was
Admiral?
sick, dying, had a whole ass, like, medical group just to save him. He literally has a heart attack before, like, encountering, like, Akainu. And utterly beats his ass. Like Akainu, like, blew, and, like, there's a lot of demonstrations, too, throughout Marineford, that his hockey was failing him, too, which then explains how, like, Akainu was able to blow off half of his face and, like, puncture through him, and why, seemingly, a bunch of random fodder Marines were able to actually shoot him and, like, stab through him, because if his hockey wasn't actually failing him, then he would have easily tanked all those attacks easily. But because Whitebeard is also a Giga Chad, he just walks through it.
He just has better raw durability.
Well, it's not just that. He's just the Giga
No,
Chad build.
yeah,
different.
no, I mean that's facts too. Like,
Yeah.
remember when Kaido was tanking like Law's Gamma Knife and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Whitebeard would do that too. You just tank it.
Yeah. Noodles has a Discord, and he's always had a Discord. It's linked in every single YouTube bio that he has. Same with mine.
Akainu doesn't have good scaling because like the only scaling we have for Akainu is that like his devil fruit is really the reason he beat Ace, and Ace wasn't stronger than Kaido, like definitively. So
Do you think Admirals are stronger than Yonko commanders?
Also, all new Yonkos. Hashi, if you want to remind me real quick, who was the Yonko that literally blocked Akainu from killing Kobe in Marineford? I'm having a was it perhaps a Yonko?
yeah,
Was
I wonder.
was it a
new Yonko.
Was
but...
it a Yonko? Because that's kind of
Someone
crazy
said-
to me.
Do you think the Admirals are stronger than Yonko commanders? I don't think the Yonko commanders are one tier.
Yeah.
Like I think Zoro is like stronger than like Katakuri, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're both Yonko commanders, and I think like Van Augur is gonna be stronger than like whoever on Big Mom's crew. Do you think Gear 5 could stand up to Blackbeard yet? We don't know anything about Blackbeard. Blackbeard actually might be weak as hell right now. We just don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like Blackbeard's kind of like another like enigma in One Piece where he hasn't really demonstrated his full capabilities yet. But there's a lot to imply that he will just become like a final villain later. And especially because he has Whitebeard's devil fruit and everything, and alongside like his like dark fruit, that he is definitely have massive potential for being like a top 5 contender.
Oh, Ace wasn't stronger than anyone until Big Brain Oda bullshitted into the story. No, he fought in his flashback he fought Jinbei, remember? So he was relative to like a weaker Jinbei.
So Duck's asking, can full power Ace beat Kainu?
Yeah, probably like a full power Ace without Luffy there. Probably would, yeah.
So, I just had somebody ask me about the whole eyes thing again. I will pull this up one more time. Because I think, here we go.
No, he wanted to explain the eyes glowing when Luffy's inside of Kaido.
The what? The eye things thing, yeah. Oh, Luffy inside Kaido. That's what I was gonna pull up. So.
Oh, word.
Yeah, so. Like I explained earlier in the stream, he probably wasn't here. So, literally in the same scan, people are acknowledging that Kaido is getting fatter, and Kaido's like even just saying like, "What's wrong with me? My body isn't made of rubber." Acknowledging that this like whole like phenomenon that's even occurring is because Luffy, which he ends up explaining earlier, is that he's able to transfer his power into things. Causing them to then gain the attributes of rubber, which he does to lightning, he does to the ground below him, and as he then proves, he's able to literally do it to Kizaru and to Kaido, and literally in the next scene, he does this with his eyes. Like, how else do you explain the scene other than he is just, like, literally, like, using rubber to poke through his eyes?
Someone said something that's making me really mad in chat. There's a theory that Blackbeard will steal Emu's place as the final villain. You mean the other way around, right? Blackbeard, it was clearly the final villain. And it's only now that people are, like, we're basically speculating that Emu is going to be the Kaguya for, One Piece.
Yeah, also, I just want to mention this as well, because I showed this in the video, but it kind of, because of some editing issues, it kind of just appeared for like a microsecond and didn't get... So I really want to address that here, so let me pull this up real quick. If I can find it in my... So, here, I'm gonna just... Because I'm putting this in Discord, and then... This is also another instance where Skypia ends up demonstrating why a bunch of people just did not read the series, or are just making up stuff for Toon Force.
Emu is Luffy's mom. No, I think Crocodile is Luffy's mom.
I would love that. So
it'd be funny, yeah.
So people try to act like the whole like eye thing with Kaido is such an enigma, but what's that? I want to know, what's this? What's this about? Luffy is literally appearing in the eyes of a giant snake. Without any... Like, this is before he learned any gears of any kind.
NL is a Boa victim? Dog, Boa would give him the hands. He wouldn't know, like, he would have no idea what Boa is doing. Boa would beat his ass so bad, dude. Oh my lord. Like, it's not even fair how bad Boa would beat his ass. Like, I can't understate how bad Boa would give Eneru the hands.
Like, again, I just don't understand how people could just, like, unless you're going to say that One Piece has always had Toon Force or whatever, you can't just act like, and pretend that supposedly One Piece is like this, or like Gear 5 is this enigma that does these weird things when we literally see demonstrations of similar gags happening within like earlier arcs of the series.
People saying current high diff NL. No, NL's trash. So there's a statement that Oda gives at some point where he's like, "Oh, well, they got lucky against NL," but that's not because NL's actually really strong. It's because he was a Logia in Paradise. The same way with Crocodile. Like, if you don't have hockey, or if you're not Luffy and Rubber, you were kind of screwed. But he's not, like, physically strong.
Mm-hmm.
You have to remember, like, pre-Diablo Jambe Sanji took an attack from Enel and did just, like, die. So.
But no, but what you forget, Hashi, is that Enel literally fought Goku and beat his ass.
Someone said if a character has a bunch of big feats and a bunch of...
thing is still kind of crazy to me. Like,
yeah. Someone said if a character has a bunch of big feats and a bunch of anti-feats, where do they scale? Well, it depends. Are the anti-feats limiting? Like, for example, Surfbone goes to the gym every day. Let's say he maxed out a 400-pound deadlift or something like that, right? And then the next day, he's just like kind of curling like 20-pound weights. Those don't really contradict each other because he can still curl that much, and it's not like he's not like struggling or anything, right? He's just kind of casually doing it. So
that's why, like, kind of like the outliers like short that we made is that essentially people just kind of like don't even try to make explanations for anti-feats or supposed outliers. To try to make sense to, like, oh, why they don't supposedly count when it comes to scaling the character. Like, they don't even, like, try to consider that maybe there's context to explain why a certain feat happened, or why a certain character has, like, a lesser feat or whatever. Like, for instance,
yeah.
There's, like, so everyone knows about, like, Superman's solar flare ability in New 52. In the next literally the next
issue.
in the next like comic issue, he's getting beaten up by random thugs on the street.
Because he didn't have his powers back.
And then like Batman ends up explaining that because he didn't know how to use the solar flare ability and it exhausted all of his solar radiation powers, that it basically made him extremely weak, and that's why that happened.
There's also some, like, there are verses that exist out there where every time a character appears, they might as well be like a new key. Like in the sense of like how we talk about how like different versions of a character. Like there are verses where like each time they summon something, that summon might as well be like a different version. And like it's not like you're saying it's the same character performing these two feats. Oh, I want to respond to this because I think some cases of outliers can kind of get to the more subjective part of power scaling. We have a video coming up on that.
Yeah.
Where we talk about this idea of like subjective and objective parts of power scaling. So wait for that. The script isn't done yet, but it will be done eventually.
Yeah. There's a couple videos we have in line that are I'm kind of excited for. The one in particular that we're still kind of developing is the whole mental amps in Naruto, or mental nerfs in Naruto, like that whole concept, which is somehow carried over to other series too. Like I've been seeing people use that for Kizaru, saying he's mentally nerfed and stuff. Like it's some stuff from like Star Wars or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's like an episode of like Obi-Wan where, spoiler warning for anybody who doesn't want to get spoiled on the Obi-Wan show. Obi-Wan and Vader fight, and it's revealed at the end that Vader was mentally nerfed. Because he was like conflicted or whatever, like Palpatine says it. Christian, what people don't think about the Light Fang is that what Naruto was dodging isn't the light, but rather Madara's head swing.
Yeah.
Naruto actually easily dodges the light. What he's concerned about is Madara swings his head around.
Mental nerfs come from Naruto? No. Mental nerfs don't actually exist in Naruto. That's not a thing. It's this big copium that supposedly that people just made up, and honestly I think it's because of 6 that like the reason why like the whole mental nerf and mental amp thing even like is like a whole idea in fiction, or like just in Naruto specifically. Like it's just this miasma that just appears. Like I don't have any problems with 6, but he is the reason why that just like that dumb argument is even a thing.
Indeed. No one cares about Kenobi. I do. I think Ewan McGregor did a great job. Yeah, I think the show is fine. I've seen people get mad that like it makes the Empire like look incompetent, but the Empire should look incompetent. The Empire isn't good. Like they aren't the good guys. They should be like incompetent.
Yeah. Something else I was gonna say about that Light Fang feat is that people don't talk about it, but in my opinion, I think like Naruto was not off guard, but I think like he took a second to like get his attention back because he was reacting to the Limbo clone, because he was questioning why the attack didn't work, and then he just like, oh shit, Madara's trying to attack me, then dodges again. So like his attention wasn't fully there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but the lights, the Light Fang isn't particularly impressive because of how fast it is. And we know this because there are other light speed things in Naruto.
Like Naruto
Darwin's
like,
laser.
If there was really a case to be made that the light speed was actually something that like disproves other like light speed stuff in Naruto, they should have. It would have been like highly emphasized in the series itself that the light fang is the speed of light. But you know what does get that type of treatment for it? The transportation jutsu, and they like make it like a whole thing with Tsunade that they don't know whether or not she's able to survive being transported at a speed like that to the battlefield, and she's like, nah, believe me, I can do this. And both the Raikage and Tsunade get transported at the speed of light, and their bodies are fine.
Tsunade has a few cuts, like she has less damage than if like you fell off your bike. So
I thought mental nerfs
Do you
happen in every verse, even in real life.
It's
I don't know about that.
so like it depends on what you mean by mental nerf.
Oh, I think I don't want to spoil too much of the video we're working on, but the problem is that in real life, like let's take a fight that just happened. Like Volk versus that other guy that I can't really pronounce his name. Do we think that like Volk is hitting less hard if he's like mentally nerfed or something? Like no, that's absurd, right? And that's kind of the problem, is that people think that like if you're like thinking about something else, you're just like weak enough that you shouldn't scale, or like if you're mentally amped, you're strong enough so that you couldn't scale. And that's kind of the problem, is that, I mean, sure, right, it might impact your performance, but is it enough to matter? And in most cases, it's not. And that's kind of the thing. Oh, do you think burn the world scaling is valid? If you think that if that OVA is canon, it's fine. He does just multiply his speed 100 times and Luffy keeps up with him. Like, that is just what happens, so.
About that mental nerf thing, something I wanted to point out is that people tend to do things naturally. Like, even if you're focused on something else, like you're thinking about depressing shit or whatever like that, you're still doing something naturally. So I don't think there's any doubt to say that, oh, I can still like punch at like at a good power, but to while thinking about something else. Like, it would have to be actively like making me fucking really, really nerfed for it to matter.
Yeah,
So,
the only argument I can see with like a mental ant maybe in like real life is if like you got like your adrenaline pumping and like you went into fight or flight. But we rarely ever really see that in fiction where that becomes like a thing.
Yeah, like a mental nerf doesn't happen until you actively make it happen. So
yeah, mental blocks make more sense. Yeah, I mean there are characters who have powers locked away like that. But it's the same thing with Toon Force. If it's a described power in the verse, that's one thing, but we shouldn't just assume it's always the case.
Okay, so I think there's like a really good segue that we can have here, and it's something that was just said in my server recently as a hot take, and it was just said in the character stats Discord as well.
Oh, is it the one that I pinned?
No, this is one that was just recently said today.
also, yes, the Renegon gives the ability to see Zakuna / Cope.
I mean, Sasuke might be able to see it. He know it. He would, even if he couldn't see it, if the slash would have hit him, the Renegon would have precogged it.
Yeah, even if you don't agree base Renegon, I think 6 paths Renegon would be able to see it. So
I mean, Sasuke only has the 6 paths or unless you mean when he like runs out of Tomo. But I don't think like
yeah,
I don't think we ever see something that he can't see because his Tomo are gone, unless it happens to Boruto and I'm just on the cap.
There we go. So
I would say like his.
this is not to put the guy that I did that's in my server on blast or anything, but I think it's a good thing to. I think it's a good thing to talk about, especially on this stream. So I'll put this on the stream for everybody to see, and I'll just read it out for Hashi here.
I have it up. I'm gonna try to read it.
Yeah. I'll just say, I think just maybe we could have a system that has official profiles for characters on CSAT, just like versus Battle Wiki, but we could also have other non-official profiles as well. The reason I think this is beneficial is because this allows for different viewpoints and arguments, which I view as beneficial because it allows the quote-unquote official profiles to be what the general community believes, which results in a profile being of community consensus instead of being like Versatile Wiki where most people believe something is wrong but they can't change it, which results in normies or straight up outsiders viewing the site as terrible and viewing power scalers as terrible. Maybe some of, if not most normies might say it's stupid anyway because it contradicts the normies' headcanon / misinterpretation of power scaling in general, or about a particular series, which doesn't matter, lol. We can just respond to them. The reason why I wrote this is because of the abundance of dogshit anti-power scaling videos that view versus Battle Wiki as some type of monolith of power scaling that every power scale supposedly quote-unquote agrees with, even though with basic research they can say that that's absolutely not the case.
So, can I respond now?
Yep.
I think the problem with consensus is that for some things, I don't give a damn what other people think. there are topics for sure that I am the most knowledgeable person probably on the planet about, and I don't give a damn what like anybody thinks about it. And so like me trying, so if let's say I'm making like a Warhammer profile, right? Because y'all knew it was gonna be Warhammer, so let's not joke ourselves here. But I make the profile, and I'm like, oh well, this is gonna be the official profile. Well, now I have to convince people that didn't know a thing about this till now that I'm correct. Why should I have to do that? Why is that a thing? Yeah, that's just
something I want to add on to that is that because our good old buddy Sende, who's a mod over at their Discord, had said like why would we pander to this idea of that goes against what CSAP is about just to go against anti-power skillers, and I honestly agree with him on that, but more so to kind of explain why he's saying that is because CSAP is founded on the idea that it's an open platform for anyone to talk about their ideas and their scaling, and they can make profiles for whoever character they want and talk about at whatever scaling they want to propagate out there. And if we just decide to make profiles that are supposedly official or the community consensus, then most people would not even care about making their own profiles and would be more would care more about actually convincing the CSAP staff about what the quote-unquote community consensus should be and that they're wrong. People will just care more about what's on the official profile than creating one themselves to counteract it.
Furthermore, there is this culture of people that you can prove, by the way. You can like easily find threads where people talk about it, where to get something changed on VSB, it is not, let me make this like king shit document. It is, let me get a bunch of my buddies to raid the thread and just harass people till the change goes through. Quality is not the concern. It is entirely post quantity and convincing the right people, possibly bribing them.
Yeah. So I understand where Raiden is coming from when he says this, but the problem is that when you do that, CSAP just becomes another versus battle wiki by doing that. Because now the staff have to actively defend profiles instead of just saying, didn't go create your own.
I can think of a good example as well. If any of you guys have ever been a mod in like a Discord and someone gets banned that you don't know about, trying to explain why they got banned off the cuff is a pain in the ass. It's like, oh, well, you know, from what I heard, they did, you know. But if it's just like, oh, well, people ban whoever, I don't care. It's like, oh, well, they got banned because the guy did whatever. Who cares? Ooga booga. But yeah. I would rather have, like, if I was having like an operation, right? I'd rather have a singular doctor who's really knowledgeable than 15 randoms who can just agree on what to do.
Yeah. Because I don't think we should because ultimately you're just giving so much more work to the people on the wiki. Because you're actually because they're active because now you're telling them to actively make these profilers that are supposedly official, or the CSAP profile, like the official CSAP profile for said characters, and now people are gonna, again, like I said, are gonna care more about what those profiles say than make their own, because ultimately they know that everyone's gonna look at those profiles and not just some random dude's profile. You have to roast the person, but I'm gonna respond to him. I'm going to respond to him in your server right now. Because I don't give a damn. I do whatever I want. You should know that by now.
Anyway. But something I was going to say is that I think that's like the beauty of power scaling in general. It's just like, having like hearing people's different opinions and like not having like a correct opinion or having like something that's definitive. It's just like hearing people out and being like, oh, this is an interesting take on this. Like I'm so curious about this, you know? Like I think CSAP does that well because like it's not a definitive saying like let's just say Naruto is universal and that's the definitive take. It's like more of like, oh, this guy thinks Naruto's universal, this guy thinks he's planetary, this guy thinks he's multiversal, and then you want to do the research yourself to see who's more likely to be correct, you know? I feel like that's how power scaling and debates work in general. So you just want to find more information, you want to like research and like understand more. I think Surf, I think you made a whole video about this where just like you just want to engage and understand more instead of just thinking like, oh,
because the thing what
correct, like,
so the reason why I don't like what VSB does is because again, you're more concerned about what other people think than trying and instead of like making these open discussions where people are allowed to have their opinions. And if you care about what not something thinks about that, you can have these conversations and disagree about a profile. But the problem is just like the other dude was trying to say about Versus Battle Wiki, about like making the official profiles, is now you're making this proclamation that supposedly this is the more correct profile by saying it's an official profile. And when you make that proclamation that's supposedly a more correct version of it, then that immediately invalidates any other person's profile, because if it's not the official one, it doesn't matter. And I think when you do stuff like that, it ultimately kills those types of discussions, and now people will only care about changing those profiles than trying to make their own, or like argue about it through their own stuff and having like
I was gonna say
about it, because now you're just basically there's a true way to scale a character, which I think is really
so if you've ever read like a versus thread on VSB and one on Comic Vine, the only real difference is that all of the bad scaling on Comic Vine for the characters is in the thread. We go on VSB, all the bad scaling for the characters is in another thread to make the profile. That's the only difference. So it's like,
oh, sorry, go on.
Oh yeah, so it's like, anybody who like says like, oh, well, people comment on CSAP, it's like, they're usually just like, how is there a page that says this? And then like 2 minutes later, someone's like, it's because anybody can make a page that says anything. Meanwhile, on VSB, when they get clowned on, it's because they're really dumb and stupid and dumb. Alright, go ahead, Sam.
But yeah, to answer the guy in chat real quick, this is my personal belief, no one has to agree with this, but I don't think there is objective truth to where characters scale. I just think it's supposed to be an argument of discussions, you know, just like, be like, oh, this is where I think he scales, and if you take care to challenge it or question it, then that's perfectly fine, because everyone is entitled to an opinion. There is no, like, definitive exact answer, you know? Like, there is no,
well,
like,
I think when the moment you try to say there's an exact answer or an objective one, then ultimately that kind of kills a lot of discussions when you do that. Because now you're just ultimately saying that there's, like, this ultimate truth to everything, and now everyone's just gonna care about, like, because now it becomes the battle of who's, like, ultimately right. It's like the whole, when we die, which religion was ultimately right?
Always funny in shows where they play into that, but like, oh no, the Mormons were the right ones.
Oh yeah,
the whole time.
Everyone just like, yeah, the Mormons. Yeah, I think that was
that. I'm gonna say it, I don't care if someone gets offended. The one that sounds the most like fan fiction, besides maybe Scientology, yeah, that's the right one.
It's totally. Almost like fan fiction. Almost like fiction relies on interpretation.
Yeah, true. We've been saying
true.
Yeah, there are people that when we say that they get really mad. I had somebody on Twitter who got really butt mad that I said that.
Yeah.
Follow me on Twitter, by the way.
Hashi just offended the entire South Park crew, by the way.
Fun.
Because I'm pretty sure all of them are Mormons.
Wait, no, they live in Colorado, not Utah.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Trey Parker and Matt Stone are Mormons, but
they've made fun of Mormonism though.
They literally made an entire
I thought they were like on the board of Mormonism because they do like talk about it a lot. They even made the fucking play.
Well, if they did, then they're like equal opportunity jokesters on because they have made fun of it before.
Yeah, they make fun of everything, but
Yeah.
No, they're not
I
Mormons. They said,
Yeah, if they
grew
were-
up in Colorado and were familiar with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Mormonism.
Yeah.
If they are, like I said, I would respect them for being
Yeah.
equal opportunity haters.
I
Yeah.
love these
Oh my
fonts.
God,
They're funny.
Power scaling isn't objective until you say the wrong verse. Well, we can still talk about things that aren't objective and still have like relatively correct takes on them. For instance, if I say like, "Oh, Jolly Rancher isn't sour," right? Someone might say that's wrong. It's very obviously sour, right? Or if I say like, this cat isn't cute, someone might take offense to that. So you can be like relatively correct. It doesn't like objective doesn't mean there isn't like a more correct way to say something. It just means it isn't like this secret truth that we're uncovering or something like that.
It's kind of like interpretation. You interpret it one way, I interpret it a different way. Nobody's right or wrong. It's just how we view it.
Yeah, but we can pick favorites. That's really what we're doing, is we're picking favorites based on consistency.
I'm trying to remember how to.
Was that cat thing a shot at Surf, by the way?
Oh no, it's just something I thought of.
Because he looked at Surf and said, "Cats."
I mean, it holds true, right? Like we can talk about that. This whole like picking favorites thing is something that we have planned talked about in a video coming up. Or we go inside the sausage factory, for those of you who know what that means.
Oh no.
Well, it just means, well, if you ever looked up how a hot dog's being made, you probably won't want to eat a hot dog in a while.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. I say that, but I've made my own hot dogs before. It wasn't that bad. They were good. I have a meat grinder, because of course I do. Sometimes I make my own ground beef too. It's good.
There we go. That should have fixed that problem.
Wait till I start spamming your mother's phone number in the chat.
Yeah.
I'll have a different story.
Like you know my mom's phone number.
One of these days, I'm gonna find it out. I'm gonna call her, and I'm just gonna say nothing but nice things about you.
Good.
And then I'm gonna hit her. I'm gonna hit her with the Rizzler combo. I'm gonna lay the Riz.
Also, just in case people saw what previously occurred in chat, if you are a YouTuber, there is an option to block certain words from appearing in the chat. And because of that bot being there, I can now block said word.
Do y'all think... Oh, sorry, Christian, I'm trying to read it, but the heart thing was blocking it. Oh, I've worked in a meat problem, so that whole hot dog analogy is wrong. I still eat hot dogs. I mean, you might, but a lot of people wouldn't. That's where the analogy comes from. It's not me making it. That's like a phrase that people use.
Was there something in the new chapter about Ada's omnipotence? Because I have not read the chapter.
Yeah, I don't.
I've worked in the meat processing plants. So
yeah, Hashi just read that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
No. A good YouTube extension would be if you could put everybody in stream in like a room, and like we could like click messages that we've responded to. Toon Force is descriptive.
Oh, it got. I guess it got.
Damn.
Retracted. He retracted it. I mean, I'm glad you came to your senses. Like, or maybe I don't know. So the most consistent interpretation doesn't mean objective truth. No.
Yeah.
Depending what we mean by objective, nothing's objective.
Yeah. Because the most consistent one is ultimately up to us to prove that it's consistent, and that's the best thing about interpretation, is that it allows us to have these discussions about the work and then give a case for why we think something is the most consistent. Because anyone can really say that something is the most consistent interpretation to them, but now it ultimately comes to how they go about proving it. Because who knows? Maybe we're wrong about the Luffy is Toon Force thing. We could ultimately be completely wrong about that. But we also could very well be right. And it's all about...
It's more consistent,
it's all about,
but it's not objectively true.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
It's ultimately...
Like,
the burden's on us, ultimately.
Yeah. If we if we dug in deep into this fundamental truth, it's not there. It's not there. Like there just isn't this hidden truth within fictional works. A common example I bring up in death of the author arguments is that there isn't a secret version of comic books that authors give to each other that have all these hidden details that only they know about. No, that's not a thing.
Yeah. Unless you're an objectivist, I guess.
I mean, if you want to try to cope with Godel, are you going to try to disprove Godel? I mean, you can try. No one's been able to do it so far, so... this is a mathematical proof we're talking about. Even the most staunchest of what's objective and what's subjective people will usually agree that mathematical proofs are objective. Or as close to it as you can get. So if you want to try to disprove Godel, I mean, you can feel free. You'd probably get a Nobel Prize if you did. So, it's one of those things. That's always the fun part about some of these arguments, that people don't realize that if they argue against it, they're basically saying, yeah, give me the Nobel Prize. Yeah. I've revolutionized this field. And that's always the funny part too. It's kind of the whole people don't understand the ramifications of what they're arguing.
I actually just I told somebody that in the comments before we even got on the stream.
Dead meme train 100%.
Yes, I was gonna say I agree with him on that.
Yeah, the fun of this community is that you can take things that you like talking about and talk about them with others and have new ways of looking at it. And I think that the anti-power scalers, the Toon Force crowd, the omnipotence crowd, just basically want to get rid of that discussion because of made-up bullshit.
Yeah. Basically because it's easier to and simpler to just believe something is the case, a character's omnipotent, than to try to actually explain why that how powerful they are or something.
Yep.
With more consistent stuff. That's why I have ultimately said that the Luffy Toon Force stuff is an incredibly lazy interpretation, because it's just you saying, oh, but funny moment occur on screen, therefore Toon Force. That's basically what it is. And they're not trying to go the extra mile to actually create some certain standards that everything should apply to, that actually has this nuanced perspective on fiction that better explains how characters have their powers or how they work or anything. It doesn't do that. That's why I don't like the Toon Force stuff whatsoever.
Someone said, so Gohan up-arrowed the shouldn't you want to talk about this thing, and to convince one of a truth. Well, that if you think any argument is true, then it's that, for one, that's really weird, but for two, arguing to convince people is always a lost cause. You can hit me with actual objective axiomatic arguments, I can just cross my arms and say nuh-uh.
Yeah. But
you can't argue something to someone if they don't want to listen to it. So.
Let me nip this one in the bud too.
Do that.
I found this tier I never heard of called Extraversal. It sounds like Boundless, but it seems different. Do you guys know what it is? And someone said it's basically Boundless from CSEP. So the problem is that Boundless
first off, Ashi invented it, by the way.
Yeah, I invented it. Yep. For two, Boundless was a tier made for omnipotent people and supreme beings, and that has fundamentally tainted the tier to its core. Extraversal was made because it was cumbersome to describe certain characters with just outer and high outer.
Yeah. Because eventually, when it came to doing a top 10 in fictions list, they realized that in order for them to actually describe where a character scales in terms of high outer, they had to describe how many how many outerversal transcendences they are in comparison to each other. and it got so huge, into like the thousands, that they realized it would be much more beneficial if they just created a separate tier to describe characters that do reach that many levels of transcendences into
You're downplaying it quite a bit. It got to the point where in order to compare two characters, you basically had to know a lot about set theory. Not because of what the goons would say about set theory, but because you had... Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. You had to know, like how infinities are constructed and how they would compare to each other. Like, it was just to the point where outer and high outer just weren't apt for describing things anymore. It would be like trying to measure how wide like the United States is in inches. It was just completely like inept.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. But to kind of go back to the whole convincing somebody, or caring about like the truth or whatever, and convincing people of the truth. If imagine you're a YouTuber, and you're caring about, and you more or less about convincing people what's true or not, you would essentially be making yourself so paranoid about any counter argument that's presented to your video that you'd get so stressed out about it. It's like, at what point do you realize that convincing people is just this fruitless effort and you're never going to convince everybody? It's kind of like the whole, like, I know this is like a weird comparison. It's kind of like the idea in Saw that they try to present in like one of the Saw movies, that you can't save everybody, and like trying to strive for that goal is ultimately pointless, because there will come an instance where the odds will just be stacked against you and someone will die eventually, and you just have to
someone said how much higher than outer is extra. Well, all right, so you know how there's like the gap between high 1B and outer, right?
He said explain to him like it's 5, so be like super.
All right, so the gap between like a normal human and infinite dimensional, that gap is smaller than the gap between infinite dimensional and outer. Now you take that gap and you keep repeating it infinite times, not just times infinity, but like you repeat that step infinite times of looking at something as if it's like a normal human and you're outer. And after infinite times, that's where extraversal is.
Do you want to just give the fucking the dollar example that you did in your blog?
I forgot. I'd have to read it. I forgot.
Oh. Well, because you said it was like, it's like how banks introduce new dollar
bills. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what banks did back in the day is, in order to make transactions easier between banks, they had to make up new bills just for bank transactions, just so they could exchange large amounts of money. 1S was just made to describe these powerful characters in a simple way.
Yeah. It's like, you don't necessarily need to like extraversal or believe it's a thing. It's just literally made for convenience sake, so that we can better describe characters who are like more or less that powerful. That's essentially the whole reason behind it.
Meme train's just like thousands of transcendences. Who were y'all even talking about? I want to know too.
Everyone, check DMs. I got something to show you.
Okay.
Actually, we were considering that notation in Skyber originally.
Oh, that's hilarious, actually.
Yeah.
Oh no, Kyber.
We actually were considering that notation very early on. Fun fact.
Oh yeah, the outer.
Like caret key.
Yeah, to the power of infinity. Yeah.
Yeah, we were. But then it turned out there was a character who, I forgot who it was. It might have been like, it was some Japanese like JRPG character who could like square their power, and they were like outer or something like that.
Can you give us examples of extraversal characters?
Yeah, like the big example, I think like the definitives examples of like things that scale that high are like the warp. The warp is like very explicitly that strong. The warp from Warhammer. The arguments people use for like the unwritten Leviathan are that strong. The very low end and really outdated idea of how the gates work in Lovecraft, like altogether.
So basically, extraversal over boundless.
That's like
more or
saying
less.
to-
like,
like-
if we're talking about VSB's boundless, then technically yes.
Yeah, it is true. The issue is that VSB is just like a costly fuck.
Like we're getting to like a point where it's like, oh, Outerversal is finally considered being beyond the concept of space and dimensions again, but also a reality fiction transcendence is also now an Outerversal transcendence now.
Yeah, VSB treats its tiering system like Yu-Gi-Oh treats its ban list. It's made to shake up discussions, but it ends up being mid-city.
Mid-city.
What I miss? Not much, I'm gonna be real here, Chief.
Yeah.
This isn't
Like,
much
this
of like
will
a
probably-
serialized
Yeah,
discussion.
this will probably still stay up afterwards, but I think what I'm gonna have to do now is like have a bunch of my streams just be unlisted, but they'll be in a
playlist.
in a playlist. Yeah.
Yo, are you unlisting your streams, or is it something you're not gonna say on stream?
I just don't like it clogging up a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, that's
and
facts.
I've heard that that streams can often like them being public or whatever messes with
That's
the algorithm or
confused.
something.
Oh, that's fair enough. So is Custodes high hypersonic too low? I mean, they fight in places with 0 time, so...
Also, I don't like people mistaking this stream for a video.
Maybe you should put, like, live or stream at the beginning, like the red dot, I don't know.
But I'm becoming...
So if you transcend high outer 8 times over, then you're extra? No, you misheard. I rarely put characters at outer. I mean, you might be downplaying. You might, like, you know, it's not much of a statement. You could make a VOD channel, couldn't you? Yeah, you could. I mean, I don't know if it would even get any attention.
Yeah.
But Surfbone could make a VOD channel.
Well, the problem with making a VOD channel is now instead of just having videos on the channel, I now have to download them and re-upload them somewhere else.
Yeah, there are some backup services, but none that do like YouTube to YouTube. Like you can Odyssey, for instance, Odyssey will back up your YouTube channel for on their end.
Also, because
Get the-
people are asking about what the definition for extraversal is, I'm just going to literally
Sure.
screenshot it and put it on the screen.
Yeah,
Which one higher, omniversal or outerversal? I thought
I was about to
omniversal
respond
meant
to that.
everything around this. Huh?
Omniversal just isn't like an agreed upon tier. It's something that like comic find people would use to make fun of people who use like the tiering system that everybody basically uses today with like outer and stuff. Even though we disagree, like everybody disagrees on what outer is, we still all agree that like outer's a thing.
Alright. There you go. You want to know what extraversal is? Right there.
Where does Mario scale to? Ask Naya.
Ask Nairobi.
Surfbone.
Oh, and Nate's in here now?
He's
I
been
know how you can get them streams on a VOD channel.
Hold on.
Just simultaneously stream it to that VOD channel unlisted and then list it later.
Oh, that's actually not too bad. Dual stream it? Yeah, it's not actually too bad of an idea.
Hold on.
So right away. You don't even have to re-upload it.
Yeah.
I just realized because I don't have... I have to like reset up how my bunch of my OBS stuff works because I got a new computer. So now I have to like grab the reactive Fujitech stuff for Nate and add it to the stream.
Told you could have had your other computer be the streaming computer.
It's... Even when it's the streaming computer, it sucks. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Like literally, my old computer would be like shitting the bed.
Oh,
with how
really?
many- with how
Yeah.
many tabs I have open while the stream is occurring. Like I still remember when me and Nate were like reacting to like Six's video.
Yeah.
About the whole what's it called? About like the whole bring back old Goku thing. Like it was like so laggy, and pausing the video would take like 3 to 5 seconds for it to actually pause.
Yeah, that's rough.
It was terrible. Like,
Yeah,
did not
no, I
like
feel
it
that
whatsoever.
100%.
Now it's just sitting in the closet, and it's gonna stay there.
Unless you send it to me.
I don't think you'll want this computer, really.
Shit, I'll take it.
Ichigo, why don't you go pay for that Patreon video from Omar?
What about Omar?
Someone's asking who's winning Naruto Ichigo. I said go pay Omar.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
pay,
Yeah.
go pay Omar. Go pay the Patreon.
Omar's been responding to my DMs recently. Y'all better go support him.
I saw that.
All right, here. Let me actually
Uh,
grab. I'm gonna grab the Patreon link real quick.
Because we all use the same words and terminology, but they have different definitions. Yeah, I mean that happens. It happens even in real life. Like there are terms that both of us could use that have different definitions, like depending on your level of technicality.
That's literally something Surfbone teaches us, that words have different meaning. There is no set definition.
Yep. What's funny is I can probably just look up Naruto versus Ichigo Patreon and it'll pull.
Damn, Nate, calm
I
down.
already did that, and that came up. I just spammed it in chat.
There is no
Go to that link,
Yep.
drop
Go,
a buck or
and
two,
I'm going to
support the project.
Yep.
I like Goku too, Poseidon.
And I'm going to pin this message as well. Go support. Yeah, the Naruto vs Ichigo project is not dead. Trent comes in. What are we yapping about? We've been yapping about a lot of things actually.
Nate,
I just
all right,
love
that's
how-
enough, Nate.
I just love how his name is Gohan with just a Gohan pic. It's very funny.
Yeah, it makes it kind of weird to respond to him.
He's still doing the Naruto vs Ichigo animation.
Yes.
Yeah, he is. Yes.
Yes, it's very hard to make the animations frame by frame for him.
Well, it's not just that. It's like, well, there's a couple reasons. It's a 20-minute animation that's animated on ones, and if you all know how, anyone knows here about animation, animating everything on ones is incredibly time-consuming because you're basically animation is animated on 24 frames per second, and if something's animated on twos, that means there's a new drawing for every 2 frames. And if it's animated on threes, there's a new drawing for every 3 frames. But if it's animated on ones, every single frame is a new drawing. And you do that for 24 frames a second, and he's doing this for 20 minutes of animation.
All right, so to put it real fast, so for a minute of animation, it's 1,440 individual drawings that need to be drawn, colored, background, etc. times 24 again would be 34,560 individual drawings that need to be done.
Yeah. And the team is already small enough as it is. And as well, Omar is currently working on a different project right now as well that's kind of like keeping him from completely putting his time on the Naruto vs Ichigo project, especially because he's not getting paid a lot to continuously animate it. So it's more or less just gonna come out when it's finished.
Yeah. So the other project Omar is working on is a not safe for work animation featuring Surfbone and another fictional character.
Oh my god.
Oh, how much?
Yeah, he's
No.
unfortunately it's
No.
gonna be something has been hotel related too.
No, it's
Yeah.
not has been hotel related. Oh my god. Hold on, Hashi. I just want to know, if that happened, who do you think I would have in an animation like that?
Who do I think you would have?
Yes.
Oh
I don't
man,
know.
it depends how much on blast I
Naruto.
want to put you on stream right now.
I'd probably say Yamato.
Gohan said Goku is universal. I have no DB. Yep. I don't think Goku's even 5D. Being beyond time doesn't make you strong. Time isn't like impressive in that way.
Is Surfbone Verbalace 2.0? Yes!
Stop.
That was the
Okay.
joke.
I wish I had his
I
type
mean-
of money to just drop 50k on like 30.
What if you
like-
uploaded?
You
Like
wish.
literally 30k on like a 2-minute animation. Of like
How much McDonald's I could buy, Surfbone?
Oh my god.
A lot of Big Macs.
Surfbone will make that Verbalace video, but it's him getting chased by Grimace with a bag of McDonald's.
Surfbone X Yamato.
I mean, that's definitely
Tell
Listen,
that's definitely,
listen.
that's
That would
definitely a
be
top
fire.
contender. I'm just
What?
saying.
You get Vincent Charizard on that?
Would.
That now we talking.
Hold on.
Oh my
Hold on.
lord.
Anish is asking, did they at least give their verdict for the fight already? Surf and Hashi might know, but I just know that if you pay like 2,500, you might get spoiled on the end. That's all I know.
I was told relatively recently by Omar himself that
But
he will change it. If you guess it right, he will change it. So it's like Schrodinger's cat, right? So if you guess Ichigo, he's gonna change it to Naruto, and if you guess Naruto, he'll change it to Ichigo. At any 1 second, it is both Naruto, Ichigo, and neither.
Yeah, I've already guessed it like 4 times already. He's had to
Yep.
change it every time.
what is
every
he
day
about now? Whatever we want.
It's shitposting. Every day, 1,000 artists are sacrificed to the golden throne of Omar.
Yes.
We're talking about Surfalays. He's about to pay 50K, bro.
How do video game limitations come into play when we're doing power scaling? Well, that's actually a really good question. So you have to ask.
Might even become like a video.
I was
honestly.
talking. Anyways, ask yourself a question. Do you think the character's limitation in the video game is more consistent to it being a game mechanic, only there because it's a game, or because that's actually how strong or weak the character is?
I like how I have the.
Actually, you know what's funny, Hashi, about the whole game limitations thing? So, you know how there's like the whole like how even the creators of God of War like address the whole how can Kratos literally fight gods and move mountains, but struggles to open a chest?
Yeah.
And they have their whole explanation with that, right? And I was telling my dad about that and what their reason for was, and he's like, honestly, that just sounds like bad writing.
Yeah.
If they're like whole, it's like, why would you have Kratos like struggle to open up a chest if he's like capable of doing all this stuff? That just seems like a really bad way to like convey like a character's strength, because now you're just like displaying that there's like this inconsistency to his strength. Man, if there's one video I also want to make is why power scaling is an important writing tool as well, because I had a lot of people in the anti-power scaling video telling me that, in the stream as well, that supposedly writers don't think about power scaling whenever they're making their stories, which I think is not only true, but if you do not do that, if you don't even try to power scale your own characters, I think you're setting yourself up for failure.
I mean, look at like what we see in like Avatar, for instance, right? We see at the very beginning of the series these very probably like these very big displays of power, like when Aang gets the moon spirit, or like when Zhong's doing his fire bending and stuff, or like what King Boomy does. And then at the end of the series, we see those actions. That like idea is very important there.
Mm-hmm.
Surf stat is a power scaler, LMAO.
Funny enough, so my dad is now he's retired now, but he's a high school English teacher, and a lot of what I end up talking about makes me realize that I'm becoming him now, because I'm like, oh man, basically I'm just talking about writing and telling people how and teaching people how writing works or how language works.
Does your dad watch your videos?
He actually has watched my videos before, yes, and gets notified.
Wonder if he
You
knows
do have
who
a
I
higher
am.
grammar.
I
than the
think
rest of
literally just to mess with me one time when I used to live back at the house, he literally had one of the videos that he helped script me with on the TV. And I'm like, please turn that off. And he's like, what? I'm watching the latest Surfbone video. What are you talking about?
So someone said space-time in Einstein's paper. What you're confusing there, Poseidon, is that when people describe time as t, it's like an abstraction. They're not actually saying time is like a dimension in that way. It's that we can describe things in the universe as 3 spatial coordinates, and then we can mark down a time coordinate. But we could also mark down its temperature or what color it is in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny that Gohan is the Gohan guy is talking about Mortal Kombat in regards to like how like there's like a whole thing with Cassie being Shinnok, and they even like use it as like a plot thing for like, oh, like Cassie is really strong because she beat Shinnok, or like
Gohan got that wrong too, by the way.
But either way, it's really funny that he brings that up because I think Mortal Kombat's probably one of the worst series to reference in terms of
It's so inconsistent.
with good power scaling because of how inconsistent characters often scale to each other or who scales above who.
The funny thing is, he brought up the most inconsistent one. Johnny lost because he was old.
Yeah,
He beat Shinnok's ass when he was younger.
Someone asked, how do I choose on CSAP which one's the accurate one? That's the thing. You read it, and then you decide which arguments you think are best.
Yeah.
You actually have to put work
This is what we
How do I
discussed
choose
earlier,
which one's accurate? Yeah, I read the series and come to my own conclusions. based
Yeah,
off
you
of
look
what
over
I
the
read
evidences
and
and you
researched.
just be like, huh, which one do I think is more consistent? Which one do I think seems more correct? And you just go over it, and it causes you to research yourself.
Who
Cause
let
you to
Sam
come to
in
your own
here?
conclusion.
Who let Sam in here?
Me,
What
myself,
Noodles
no.
in here?
And now Noodles is in
Surfbone.
here.
What's going on? What's happening
This is
in here?
this is a live stream, Noodles.
I know. It's a
Hey,
live
he's in
stream,
here.
I'm
Pull up a
live?
Daigo Knight video.
Here, real quick.
Daigo.
Surfbone, you mind if I break down a musical number?
What is
Sure.
this a reference to?
Oh no.
I like to call this little number Striped Sweater.
Oh my fucking god.
Striped Sweater is all the time. One with a collar turtleneck. That's the kind. 'Cause when you're wearing that one,
That voice
special
crack is
sweater-
crazy.
I shed a tear listening to
That's
that.
it.
I was expecting balls in your jaw, honestly.
Not on my live stream, please.
It's like anything but that.
I had to invade your stream right quick.
Damn, the table's getting crowded.
Someone
What
said,
the fuck?
someone give this stream an Oscar just for that. Paulo says.
Beautiful.
You have to use your brain to power scale. Too bad, buddy.
The table is getting
Look.
crowded. I know the table is getting crowded. Like,
The
honestly,
somehow
I need to like actually make I feel like what I'm gonna have to do is I'm literally gonna have to make a new scene on OBS specifically for streams like this where a bunch of people just come in. So it's not just everyone cramming behind this one desk.
Oh, I was gonna say something really out of pocket.
Of course. Yeah, please don't say it on the stream.
It's about your mother too.
Yeah, I know.
It's like when Sonic fans, like any other fan base, right? It's like the game's gonna suck. And it's like, no, it's not. Shut up. A Sonic fans like the game's gonna suck, and they're just like, we know.
We know.
I can see the desk breaking on stream. That's crazy.
The somehow even rounder table. It's like the yeah. No, but we're all showing up like Gandalf the Grey, Gandalf the White, and Monty Python.
Bringing up Gandalf around me right now. I'll go crazy.
I was trying to reference the Ultimate Showdown. If you've never seen that, Noodles.
I haven't.
It's actually 15 years old as an animation and a song. Yeah, go look it up.
So we're gonna pull a CJ and upgrade the round table for real.
I'm gonna have. That's literally what I was thinking of. Is I was gonna make a round table for all
The even rounder table.
The even.
Did
rounder
you like my
table.
music number, Surfbone?
It brought something new to the stream, so sure.
That's what I'm talking
Surf,
about.
just add like a long table. Just call it the Great Supper.
One of the 4 principles of streaming: innovation.
Yep.
Innovation.
Yeah. On topic of innovation, Surfbone, so you know how to do OBS scenes, right?
Yeah.
You know who doesn't?
Who?
DSP.
Oh no. He doesn't know how to do scenes.
Nope. And you know how he met his current wife?
What?
He was responding to her on Twitter about OBS advice.
Oh my lord. OBS is not that
Hachi.
hard to figure out.
Yeah, but DSP
Hachi,
is like
you know
literally an
Avatar,
ape.
respond to the guy in chat.
Let someone say what? Or avatars? Yeah, they can. They react to lightning. Like Zuko's able to move before the lightning hits Katara end of series.
I mean, Noodles made a calc where Zuko just reacted to Ozai's lightning. It's decent.
It's pretty blatant. They're also like channeling the lightning through their body at lightning speed, so it's like kind of pretty hard to deny that they're not just on lightning level, you know. So they're literally doing it around their organs and everything, making sure they don't hit the heart. So they're channeling lightning at that speed and then firing it back out.
First instance we see Naruto do it too. He just like senses lightning's coming and gets into stance to redirect it.
Yeah.
And on the ship, so
They're definitely lightning timers for sure. They're like part 1 level Naruto. Lightning timers.
Toph versus Gaara. Toph would get obliterated, bro.
Stop.
I just like, what does she do when Gaara turns the entire force to sand and just crushes her?
She can't even like feel through sand.
Nah, she can at the end of season 3, but still, like, she can't actually sandbend then. But like, what is she gonna do when Gaara is like, yeah, I'm just gonna drop a forest of sand on your forehead? You like that?
A lot of people say that Crocodile can beat Gaara. I don't know anything about
that. Would be a good fight.
What do you guys think about that, Surfbone Hashi Crocodile versus Gaara?
Honestly,
Crocodile's fast.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, so like, they both have definite win cons against each other.
The thing is, Noodles, like, if the Crocodile touches Gaara, like, he can just suck all the moisture out of him and kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if I told you Gaara's a raisin?
He's a raisin.
It's like I'd wait till the Crocodile actually gets some feats post time skip, because right now it's like, Alabasta Crocodile versus like tuning exams Gaara is probably debatable to some extent just how speed stacks up.
Give me an animal you like.
Ancient Psychic Tandem War Elephant.
Oh my god.
Oh shit.
That's good.
That's baller.
Now I have to look up a GIF for that, Hashi.
What, the Ancient Psychic Tandem War Elephant?
Yeah.
You'll find one.
Easy.
Just give me a tiger.
No, Ancient Psychic Tandem War
Shut
Elephant.
the fuck up, Hash.
A tiger. Okay. I will put. Yep. Here we go.
This is like if you were a kid, right? And someone's like, "What do you want for dinner?" And you're like, "Man, I want pizza." And someone else is like, I want slop, and you got slop instead of pizza. Oh, that's what you just did there.
He asked me what animal I wanted.
Yeah, but you had a bad choice, so I picked a better one for you.
I like tigers.
Yeah, but it's not as cool as the Ancient Psychic Tandem War Elephant.
If it doesn't show up in Canva, yeah, it doesn't. Here, I'll grab a GIF of it, like somewhere else.
What do you think is the most underrated street tier? I know someone who's made for the street. Yeah, there we go. Me and Nate have like a UI for making fun of Surfbone's mother.
Here we go.
Yeah, we need something to counter Surfbone's ultra ego from uploading.
By the way, I'm making the round table as we speak. That's why I'm asking about this.
It's not the round table. It's the even rounder table.
It's the roundest table.
Yeah, the roundest table. Facts. Oh, someone says they agreed with the video and they said it was a good job.
Thank you.
Chat.
I agreed with you.
Thank you, Noodles. Someone said
I didn't watch it.
Does
You
Surfbone
probably
have
want-
cosmic otters as pets or worship the cosmic otters?
I will watch it.
It's both.
Just by osmosis, Noodles, you've probably seen more of the video than most of the people who left comments.
Probably. I've heard most of the arguments anyway. Like, it's just you know, I get around to watching my Surfbone content when it comes around. It's just I'm running a little behind on the Bone Man content lately. Need to pick it up a little bit.
Fernando's asking how far Gojo would get in the Elden Ring verse.
Elden Ring? I don't know anything
Yeah.
about Elden Ring, really. I played the game a little bit, but not enough to really understand the scaling.
What's funny is like for us, we have to add we just have this capability to turn off that power scaling instance in our brains, but a lot of people can't, and they're like, how do you do that? It's just like, just don't think about it too much. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Like, if someone asked me, like, how strong do I think, like, Ahsoka is in her own series, I'd be like, I don't fucking know, dude.
Okay.
It's like how MatPat can't stop himself from theorizing.
MatPat retired.
He did, actually.
Not yet. Not yet. He's still got a couple more up his belt.
Am I the only person that didn't really watch any MatPat videos?
I watched, like, classic game theory, but, like, when he started doing FNAF content, I stopped watching him. Actually,
I
no.
never really watched them.
The video that, like, marked the end of me watching MatPat was the cringy one he did for Halo 5, where he was, like, trying to get, like, real-life Spartan armor, and he was, like, being really cringy. Like, it was really
Game
bad.
Lab?
Yeah, I think it was Game Lab. Yeah, it was really cringy. I was like, alright, MatPat, we're done. Our friendship is over.
Our friendship is over.
I didn't watch Cinema. I didn't watch MatPat. I'd watch Cinema Sins and they get mad because they aren't actually. It's just bullshit.
For real, CinemaSins ass.
And why we dissing on CinemaSins?
Fuck Cinema Sins.
They do be right in some of the situations.
They're wrong a hell of a lot of times though.
Come on, their Twilight and Chucky videos, they were good.
He should have those two off that. He's like,
the two simultaneously most hated and loved like series of all time. Just Twilight, like this video that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that they're right about the good movies. I'm talking about the bad movies.
They did a bad job for Revenge of the Sith.
God, I wonder if Cinema Wins has a video on Twilight.
They did a bad job for Revenge of the Sith. That one probably.
By the way, I've been trying to scale animals on my channel, but everyone just talks about their swimming or running speed, not their combat speed. Yes, the lion's combat speed. Do you want to die?
If you can do it, I'll appreciate it.
I'll pull up into the game.
I'm so immortal and been living so long that perfect. I've just been waiting for the challenger that can finally kill me.
Yeah, because I know Jay won't pull up.
Listen, I don't think you're worthy personally.
Have you checked his profile? He's killed 300 motherfuckers.
And now Clyde's in here.
Clyde, leave. The table's full.
And that record isn't for debate, bro. That's how many people he's killed. He's a serial killer.
Oh my god, bro.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, 300 knows it's KDR.
I just stopped counting after the 301st win. Didn't feel like keeping track anymore after that.
That's just the consecutive amount of screams you hear every night.
The bodies just kept piling up.
Alright, you better make that table even bigger, sir.
I know, I have to make the table bigger.
It's even around your table.
I know, because Clyde decided he wanted to hop in here too.
Wait, what are you doing?
I'm actually live streaming right now, Clyde.
Oh, I better be careful then what I say.
Don't worry, we've already made fun of Surfbone's mom's copious amount of time.
Clyde just comes in, starts calling me a serial killer in front of the stream.
Yeah, I've actually just spilled the beans on the craziest conspiracy ever on Discord.
The next drama video, Noodle's a killer?
That's going to expose his video. Why I stopped working with Noodles? He's a murderer.
Oh no.
Sir, if someone named Distrate's gonna ask you if they can add you on Discord.
Can you add me on Discord? If I don't know you, I'm not adding you.
Yeah. He says sorry to me. What the? I didn't answer any of your questions, bro. What?
If you
just
donate
did right now.
If you donate $10 to Surfbone right now, I'll get him to add you.
Yeah.
if you do actually donate $10, yeah, I'll add you.
I still need to donate the 200. I need to get paid first. Hold up, Surf. I got you.
there's something that Discord actually needs to fix, and it's that you can just add people to group chats on Discord, like no consent.
Yeah,
It's like
that's
actually a
horrible.
security problem. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that? Remember when that happened over a year ago, Noodles? You got thrown into a group chat. This is before the drama went off. Like, you got put into a group chat with people that like didn't even have you added on Discord. Like,
Yes, and they can keep adding you too. You have to block everyone in there. Like, it's terrible.
I don't exactly trust like Discord security either. I just see it as like a massive security risk to randomly be put in a chat with people like you don't even know.
Yeah, knowing the people that frequent these
Hurry up with that case.
I think,
dark alleyways of the internet.
you know what a good option would be is if it came up with a request thing where it's like you've been requested to join this group chat. Would you like to join it? Like, you can't just get thrown in. Like, you have to accept it like a call.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like anything
like
would be
invite.
better than what we have now.
Make it like the Xbox party system. They'll just invite you to a group chat, you know, or
Yeah,
PlayStation party system.
that'd be easy.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't even be difficult to implement. They're just dumb as hell. I don't know.
It should make for exploits. Like right now, I could just start adding like Surfbone to any group chat I want to. Hell, me and Needles are in a group chat with like randoms from like 4 years ago.
I still
If
message those occasionally.
Yeah.
If I decline a friend's request, it should be permanent too. I shouldn't get pinged again by the same person trying to add me. Like, I don't want to have to block them for that to be the way it stops.
Yeah. I mean, there should be like there should really be like a few options because like there's some people I wouldn't mind if they sent me a friend request in the future. I just don't want to accept it right now, type thing.
What
But
the
then-
hell?
Well, yeah, I mean, like there are people in Surfbone and Surf that if they tried to add me randomly, I wouldn't accept it. But if they wanted to like DM me something specific, I would, you know.
Okay.
So
Whatever floats your boat, Hashi
Yeah,
man.
I hate this Hashigo.
Yeah. Personally, I would destroy him if I knew where he was.
who's
What do you guys
infant showed up
actually,
in y'all's PC?
What are you
That's
guys actually
Hashi.
streaming?
Originally it was me making replies to the people in my comment section of my recent video I uploaded about the Luffy Toon Force bullshit. But then it kind of just devolved into whatever we wanted to talk about at the moment.
Yeah, Surfbone was like really inspired earlier this morning. And he's like, we should stream about it. And I figured he had like 5 or 6 comments picked out. But then he mentioned like 2 real points, then we just started reading chat. We haven't gone back since. So,
Prolific.
Noodles is
That's-
always ready to throw hands at them One Piece fans.
Yeah, they never throw hands with me though. They always duck. You're wanking. You riding.
well,
Okay.
They have such an advantage too because you haven't even read it. You're just like, nah, I'm going in. They're like bringing up random pirate, dick ass, 3,000 captain of the cock pirates, and you're just like, I don't care about that motherfucker.
Yeah, he's weak as hell.
there was this time in Cozy server where we had supposedly the best JoJo's debater on the platform, and Noodles beat his ass. It was really funny.
Yeah. He named himself the best JoJo's debater, so I debated him on JoJo's.
I mean, to the person named Gohan in the chat, well, why would Bugs Bunny even be strong to begin with, right? Like, why are we presupposing that Bugs Bunny is like super OP? I feel like that's the first problem.
Yeah, well, I just read this man's name on Discord. His name is the Violator.
Oh.
We know who that is.
In the main chat with the Sakuna gif.
The Violator.
Oh,
I have like 200 friend requests that I just haven't replied to.
Yeah, you could do a stream where you're just like accepting or rejecting friend requests.
Oh my god,
Chat
dude.
votes.
You could just make like a document, like a submission thing, on why people should be your friend and go through them.
Hashi,
Why don't
is
you,
your alt account sending me a friend request?
Yeah,
Noodles,
I have
why
like
don't you
12.
Why don't you make a join chat for your server where you have to prove why you're allowed to be in there and debate you?
We're gonna do the Kakuzu Wars eventually. I'm gonna make a whole server dedicated to Kakuzu debates, and I'm just gonna let people come in and fight me for like multiple hours. I'll stream it and everything.
Man, I have such an interesting idea for how you could do that, but it would never work.
Well, I don't want to hear it then.
Man,
We only
kinda
take ideas
depressing.
that work around here.
Splash started the idea of bugs being OP. Well, Splash
No,
also
not
touches
Splash.
kids, so
Yeah, let's not even mention that. Dumbass.
All right,
Yeah.
boys, I'm hopping off for now.
alright, see the noodles.
Yeah, you get off this dick noodles. Yeah, get out of here.
Hey, listen, I'm just hopping off stream. I'm not necessarily hopping off Discords.
Kids.
But yeah, I'll see
Yep.
you later, chat. Make sure to give Surfbone some money. Very important. That's it. So, give him something. Give him at least $1.
Don't even give him $1. Give him a penny. It'll go to his head.
Yeah.
He already doesn't
Right,
respond to us.
He's an egomaniac, so if you give him too much power and money, he might go crazy. So,
Noodles is still getting secondhand whiplash from that Volk knockout.
Don't bring it up.
Yeah.
I was telling Noodles that he should do a video on if Volk fell off or not.
I just couldn't. I told him no because I don't want to like the clips of him getting knocked out again. Like I don't even want to like mess.
Yeah.
With
That's like the Islam knockout of Volk. Like I don't even want to rewatch it because it's so gross to see him go limp like that. Like it's
Yeah,
just like nuts.
it's
It's like
yeah.
watching. It's like watching your favorite uncle get knocked out cold, dog. Like
yeah, bro, it's so bad. When Taporia knocked him out, bro, I just felt it inside.
She fucking just dodged him too.
I know. I was like so sad. Oh yeah, but I'll see y'all later. Appreciate you, Surfbone.
Yep.
Hopefully your cat doesn't tear you apart too badly.
Yeah.
All right, later, y'all.
So yeah.
That was my favorite part of yesterday, is just seeing him be like, Volk, let's fucking go! And then 20 minutes later, no! Noodles got so upset.
Noodles is
Man.
running, bro.
What's like terrible too is like one of the first like UFC fights I watched Noodles and them was a Volk fight. And I was like, oh, that's like the guy I know. And then it's like, oh, well, he's kind of fallen off now. It's like, damn.
I remember the first MMA
gonna
fight you
up
showed me,
real
but it was
quick.
Volk laying the fuck out of someone. It was good.
I'm gonna dip to then, fellas. You guys have a nice stream. Enjoy responding to these people, and
Love you,
have a
Clyde.
nice day, guys.
Yep.
Take
See
care,
you, Clyde.
guys.
I like Clyde. He's a nice guy.
Well, now we don't have to extend the table anymore.
Oh, hold on. I'm still making this table.
You
The even roundest table.
Yeah. It's not even
That's a round.
technically round, the one I'm using.
It's actually a reference to something. Slashes of all that shit.
Yeah, we don't talk about Splash.
Oh yeah, Jabra is also a PDF.
Yeah,
Is this
last I
Fandom?
checked, it wasn't Splash. I'm pretty sure Splash was also known for touching animals. I might be wrong on that. But it was
I
someone.
think I've never heard something about that, so I wouldn't.
Yeah,
say
it was someone on that side of the column. But
Yeah. Best time to wear a striped sweater. Man, Noodles is an animal. I like Noodles though.
Alrighty.
Well, Gohan, the problem is that Splash was like a known idiot in the community. So if you're saying you heard something from him and you're still watching him knowing that he touches kids, it's like, I don't know why I would even bother entertaining the idea.
Alright.
it's not where we're discrediting it because of what he did. We're just discrediting it because we don't want to associate with anything he did. So like, if the argument came from someone else, we might allow it. But since it came from
Like,
him,
why
just
would
don't
we
want-
give somebody who is like that a platform? Like, I'm not gonna do that.
He's also just like an idiot too. Like,
Rare.
so. Man, I'm out of
Animals
box
do you think could
space.
survive the age of dinosaurs? Otters, because they are the king of all animals.
I put like a bunch of stuff.
I mean,
in
there's-
the round table.
Fernando, there's like crocodiles that factually did survive during the crocodiles and turtles survived relatively the same.
I like how the
So-
past 30 minutes, Greenville's just been trying to talk about power scaling animal speed. That's very funny.
Yeah. How long have we been live for? We've been live for almost 3 hours, Surfbone.
Yep. Let's see, how long is this stream? Yeah.
3 hours.
Let's say when we actually get to the 3 hour mark.
We are at the 3 hour mark.
No, it's officially 2 minutes 2 hours 54 minutes and 52 seconds.
6 minutes unless someone drops a big dono bomb and they want us to watch something.
Yep.
That's always the standard.
Bet.
Is that a challenge?
Nate, I was about to roast you so bad. Like I felt like low to your god there. Like, I was.
No, y'all challenging me right now. I'll drop it. What do y'all want to watch?
If Noodles was here, I would say Daigo Night, but I actually don't want to watch anything. I was talking about the people in the chat.
We should look up, see if anyone's tried to debunk Surf yet, and then react to it.
There has been someone who's been. Oh, there's a bunch of people that tried to debunk the Goku stuff.
Besides that guy earlier in your chat who says he's gonna make a video. Besides him.
Oh, because he hasn't even made it yet, so.
I'm strictly here only for scaling. Wait, Gohan, dude. If you're actually concerned with like good scaling, you shouldn't be watching. Like his stuff is some of like the most like window licking, doorknob sniffing, bottom of the barrel content I've ever seen.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, holy shit!
Wait, what?
This shit kind of boring. Might as well end it already. Damn straight. Thank you, Mayor. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, we got like an hour.
He just donated $10 just to say that, so we might just end the stream there. Thank you, Mayor. All right. Well, it's been nice, like just chilling with everybody in chat for almost 3 hours. But since Mayor donated $10, we're ending the stream now. Nope, you're not getting my thoughts on Boruto because
you don't read it.
Yep.
Let's end the stream on a good note.
Because
the end.
What?
There you go.
Oh,
Nate, no.
$3 watch Daigo Night. That's not enough to watch Daigo Night, Nate. I'm sorry.
Don't.
How much you want?
That didn't outweigh how much Mayor donated, so we're ending the stream.
Yeah, it does, but I'm a friend. I get the plus 100% fucking whatever.
I have like 8 DMs from people. Goddamn.
Someone said no content machine. Look, someone donated $10 free to end the stream, so I'm ending the stream. So
we were just rambling anyways.
Yep.
You know.
We're rambling. All right.
Fernando, Nairobi scaled
Nope.
Mario.
Shut up, Sam. We're ending the stream. Goodbye, everybody. Bye. And it's over.
I hate you.
Daigo Night.